Movie Podcast, episode number 81. I am Dave Z. I am joined by these two wonderful gentlemen. What's this guy? Who are you?
Well, I don't know who you're pointing to, but my name is Christian.
I was pointing to you. You're to my left.
Really? And I thought you were pointing to me because you literally are pointing to me from where I'm seeing you. Yep,
now who am I pointing to?
You're still pointing to me.
You're putting in my sock filter now.
All right. And this guy over here?
And I am Brandon.
All right. We got to find an official way to do that.
No, I like it. I like it all fucked up each and every time. 81 episodes in, we don't know how to start a show or end it. Oh, I froze again.
Yeah, you did. Don't worry. I'm sure you'll sound fine on the final result, and I'll sound like...
I'll sound pristine, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I didn't even say anything yet. It'll be me breaking up.
Nice.
You're welcome, listeners.
Absolutely.
I got to be honest, in 81 shows, I have never felt comfortable saying my name.
Well, why don't you call yourself something different then? If that's the...
Change your name now.
Yeah, like a horror host, like Dr. Demento, or you just call yourself Brandon, or I don't know.
Is my name though?
Well, no, okay, not Brandon.
Hairless.
The Hairless Wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is the armless. Sorry.
The Armless Wonder.
He is the hairless wonder of the 21st century.
He's like the
I'll
taco
tell you
guy.
what, Dave. I recently watched a documentary, and there's no way you could watch it because it's literally about
Oh, don't even go there.
It's about people with their birth defects.
Oh no.
It's called Being Different from 1981. Most people probably know it if they've seen because they've probably seen the cover art. It has a picture of a guy's face who has I'm not sure what the disease is called, but it's the Elephant Man disease.
Oh, stop it. Ooh, stop.
And man, it was really, really good. And there was a woman on there that they showcased, born with no arms, does everything with her feet. Everything.
What choice do you have? Yeah.
But it was like amazing to watch. Like she's driving with her feet. Yeah.
Yeah, flicking the bean.
She was giving her son a haircut with her feet.
That's talent.
Wow.
I guess you gotta do what you gotta do.
You better learn what other choice do you have. Either that or you suffer.
Yeah.
You can face things on. You could be a victim, or you can make the most of your situation.
Hi, listeners.
And if you're on Patreon, you could see that B is waving with his foot.
Brandon's up podcasting with his feet.
Now he has a sock filter and he has a no sock on his foot. Oh, there you go. See?
It's funny because from the same era, I watched a show. It's called Different Strokes. Crazy. It's about this black family that lives with white people.
Much better show. Yes.
Yeah.
What you talking about, Willis? No, that's great though. That is great. See, you just got me in a better mood. Now you started talking about something that makes me happy. Gary Coleman, Todd Bridges.
I like that show, man. Dana Plato.
Yeah. Now I'm sad again thinking about the cast of the show. Okay, let's move on. We're talking about horror movies tonight because we're a horror movie podcast.
Are we though?
Yeah.
Oh well, we are, unless you pay us enough money not to be for a week. But we'll talk about that later.
This may be half of a week because it's arguable that some of the movies are horror.
Okay, that's true. That is true. But still.
I would say we're 60% horror tonight.
Okay, which is still pretty solid. I can dig it. But even when we do a non-horror show, we're still doing 2 RRRs that are going to be horror movies. So, boom. There will never be a show with just non-horror. And if there is a non-horror show, it's going to be about a horror director. So... Right?
We assume. Now, are we going to tell the listeners how this is going to be kind of different than what the usual structure is for a show?
Oh, that's right.
Chris is going to mute his mic. Thank you.
We're supposed to be joined by a special guest later. And I'm not going to say who it is because just in case technical difficulties and whatever, you just never know. We're supposed to be joined by a special guest, the person who actually selected the movies we're going to be covering in our main events. And if you have been listening to the other shows, you know who it is. But instead of doing feature review, RRR, feature, triple feature, this time we're going to start right off with the 2 RRRs and then do the feature when our special guest jumps on. Features.
And then feature.
This
so
is
we're gonna
crazy.
We're going to go trip, feature.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Right. With a little...
Just to keep you on your toes.
Yeah. We got to talk about some other things, though. Oh!
That lady's toes. Sorry?
Alien Day. Alien Day. Remember last show where I was trying to figure out what that other thing was that everyone's been talking about the last 3 or 4 years that was never a thing before. Well, since that recording, it actually happened, and it was Alien Day.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
Did you guys also celebrate May 5th as Revenge of the 5th?
I'll take that over the 4th. Yes, I'll take that. I will never. I won't say it. What, you don't know about Revenge of the 5th? See?
I just heard about it. I'm like, this is getting out of control.
The world sucks. Revenge of the 5th.
I think Revenge of the 6th would actually be better because it sounds like Sith. No?
Yeah, I agree.
I'm changing it. Next year, I'm making my own up. I'm calling it Revenge of the 6th. Okay? May the 6th be with you.
Oh, my Lord. I'm gonna dive through
Actually,
May the 6th be
it did lose popularity. It was not all over the place this year like it was years past. Am I right?
Well, I mean, again, it was out there, but most people were making fun of it, seemingly, this year.
Good. Make fun of it. Maybe they'll start making fun of Alien Day next and Kramper Schmidt or whatever that thing is called.
Kramper Schmidt.
Whatever it is. And maybe we'll make up a day. I don't know. We'll get thinking on that, you know? But anyway, it was Alien Day, so that was that. We do have a couple emails to get into. We have a couple voicemails. It's been a while for both, and we got some. So
shit. Well, shoot them to us.
I'm going to shoot them. Okay, check it out. I am going to just first, before I do any of that, I want to give some props to our homie Dave Gabbard, who has taken the time.
Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Out of his life. Wow, isn't it? He is actually going through all of our shows from episode 1 and giving us the rankings that we did for every movie. So, you know, like
every movie.
Every movie. Like it starts off with us, Alone in the Dark. Brandon, 8.5. Christian, 6.5. Dave, 7.
Gosh, you guys are low.
22. We're low.
You're low.
Oh, well, whatever. Final Girls, Brandon, 9. Christian, 9. Dave, 8.
Yeah, Dave, you're low.
Yeah, I guess.
Let's go through each movie right now.
We got all night.
So he went through all of them. He has the sum up there. He has every show done except show 50, which is, you know, that's forget about it. You know what I mean? That's going to take him a little time, of course. But he's getting there. And he has right now he has everything except show 50 and our year-end shows. So, because we do an awful lot on those shows. So when he's done with it, we're either going to put it on the Facebook group page somehow as an attachment, or maybe in the future we'll actually have a website. We can put it there, and then anyone wants to know anything about what we've rated, if anybody cares, it'll be there.
We also do have the Exploding Heads letterbox page that Yordi created for us, too. It's just a matter of updating that. I mean, I have a problem just updating my own.
That's just it. I know, since I started mine this year. Right, same deal. It's tough. You know?
And the Exploding Heads Pornhub page.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Brandon sucks his own penis with his toes.
With my toes. I'll tell you what. I would pay to see that.
Pay to see you
himself doing it.
If I could do that, I would pay to watch it.
Well, patrons, if you want to see it, just by the way, patrons, if you guys have any ideas, you just want to throw them at us and come up with your own levels and your own amounts, and I don't know.
Look at him.
Why not do it?
He fucking shadowed his background. He's
trying to be sexy.
Yeah.
That's for the patrons also. So if you want to, you know, get on there, $3 for the video, which is screwing up the whole show, but it's
$3 to see blur my background.
How do you blur your background like that?
We spent like an hour trying to figure it out for you guys. For me, it's literally the drop-down menu. Just blur my background.
That's the option. Blur my background.
Yeah. There you have it.
Oh.
Okay, let me get to these emails because I know the listeners.
Yeah,
the listeners are getting bored unless they're on Patreon. Oh, look at B. Well, I forgot. I can't do this. You guys look good though. Wow. anyway, there's some promotion. And by the way, thanks again, patrons, for just, number one, for being, you know, patrons of ours, but for your patience. We want to shout you out because we're all trying to get acclimated to this year and things that have happened in our schedules personally and with our jobs and other things. And it's, you know, we've been slowed down a little bit, but now we're going full speed ahead. So, but thanks for your patience. So everybody, your movies are going to be reviewed.
Yes.
Even if it takes us, you know, doing not a bonus show, but an extra show that month just to crank out the reviews. So thank you again.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, now here we go.
Thank you.
This is an email. Greetings from a newer listener, Roberto Almanza, who has been on the page.
Like a machine on the page.
So this is, and speaking of a machine, I might have to use a machine to read this email. It's SC. It's like SC email.
Perfect.
So, okay, I'm going to do my best, though. Okay, all right. That's what he said. First, I'm going to blow you guys by stating that this is quickly becoming my favorite podcast. Yes, you guys take a long-ass time to get to the point of the show and often get derailed during it, but that's the fun of the show. Yeah, thank you. Because
Tonight is no exception, Roberto.
Not at all. No. I'm a relatively new listener of the podcast, 2 to 3 months, and have been catching up with all the episodes starting from episode 1 and going back and forth between new and old episodes. It's especially funny when I find the origin of the famous running jokes, i.e., bleach assholes, in episode 11, The Invitation. Nice.
I don't even remember where it came from.
I know. Well, now we know. Go back, listen to a show 11, and wow, that was, I'll tell you, the early days. Okay, I must confess, I am a born-again horror fan. My mom introduced me to Freddy, Jason, and Pinhead at the early age of 4, but I was too much of a scaredy cat as a kid and stopped watching horror movies altogether. It also did not help that my grandmother and every adult I met in my small town would always traumatize me with their claims of seeing ghosts, witches, and the devil himself on a daily basis. Wow.
Where does he live? Salem?
Right? Right? Or possibly Grimsby.
Yeah, I'm telling you. It's a great name.
It is. I drive by a street at work all the time, and I always say that to myself. Grimsby.
It's like there's Stony Creek, and right beside it is Grimsby. And I said either name is a cool name for like a horror film.
Absolutely. Well, pay attention, guys. Maybe when we film our horror film, it'll be in Grimsby or Stony Creek. It'll be cool, though. But anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it. Okay, I finally grew a pair at the age of 21 when I decided to have...
Sex for the first time.
That's when I had sex for the last time.
Woo! Come on, you're not Jeremy. Come on, get out of here. When I decided I had to face my fear of horror movies and began watching them once again. So I've been a horror fan for about 6 years. Needless to say, I don't have nostalgia for any film. I can look at all films from different eras with fresh eyes, and I don't live through the ups and downs of the genre. Oh, I like that. Okay. The films that scare me most are paranormal ghost films because of my background mentioned previously. I don't know why, but Paranormal Activity, which I have not revisited since the first watch, is the scariest film I've seen so far. Wow. Okay. Here is my top 10, which I hope will change as I catch on more horror films. Oh, it will.
Cool.
Nothing against your top 10, but yes, the more you watch, the more, you branch out. But anyway, here's his top 10. Number 10, Sleepaway Camp, 1983.
Ooh.
Yay. Yeah. Number 9, Dead Alive, Brain Dead,
Nice.
1992. Yeah. Number 8, Attack the Block. Yes. Which
Okay.
I've become a fan of it.
I'm a fan of it too.
The title is funny,
It's okay.
of course.
Yeah.
Number 7, Get Out, 2017.
Great.
Something around there. Number 6, Train to Busan, 2016.
Awesome.
Nice. I really need to revisit that film. It's been a couple years, and I was thinking about it the other day. Yeah, that's a good
Gonna
one.
pull on those daddy heartstrings. You know that, right?
Yeah, yes, it does. Indeed. Yep. Okay, number 5, Terrifier, 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
Top tenner. Nice.
I have to dig down. Yes, and speaking of clowns, It, 2017. Wow,
Cool.
nice.
You watched the trailer for it too, Dave?
Give me a break. Come on now.
I actually didn't watch it either.
Yeah.
Really? Are
I'm
you
very
changing
proud
your
of both
way?
of you.
I don't
Should
know
be.
why I haven't watched it, but I might not at this point.
At this point,
Really?
it's been out like 3 days tops. At
That's
this point.
insane for me.
But still, considering it's all over the place, you can't freaking turn your head without seeing it,
I'm just hearing everyone's loving it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll go in blind.
Do it. Wow.
I won't enjoy it since I won't be able to see going in blind.
I give the trailer a 10 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well,
I just want
Graveyard
to piss
B.
you guys off.
Keep doing what you're doing, Graveyard B. I just gave you a new nickname since you don't want to be called Brandon.
Graveyard B. I like that.
Yeah, it's official. Okay. Graveyard B. All right. Number 3, Demons, 1985.
Oh, amazing.
I'm sorry. I got to interrupt. I got my new nickname. Grimsby.
Oh. This is why he is the best. That
Yes.
was fucking amazing. Every time I'm thinking like we got to get rid of him, Dave, there's one of these jokes.
Right?
I
Yes.
do.
It's every
myself
show. You know I'm kidding, man. No, that is awesome. That fucking ruled.
Next show, I will introduce you as Grimsby. Nice.
Awesome.
Who would have thunk it? Okay, all right. Woo. Okay. Number 2, Slither, 2006. That's a wild card. Yeah.
What was the one before? Because I did have some. Oh, Demons. Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Mwah.
Demons. Yeah, great film, definitely. And number 1, from 1982,
La, la, la,
The
la.
Thing.
Ooh, hey, this guy rules.
It's a solid list.
You can continue to listen to the show.
Yes. Yes, indeed you can. And 1982 is a big thing coming up next, and The Thing is a big thing coming up after that. So you are really going to dig the next 2 shows.
Double dose.
Yes. Okay, couple honorable mentions. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, The Sixth Sense, Army of Darkness, Annabelle Creation. Love that pick. Friday the 13th, Part 4. Boom.
Solid,
I have
man.
no complaints with any of those films, with the exception of maybe Sleepaway Camp because Frankie Z ruined it for me by pointing out the most obvious flaw in the film that nobody has ever mentioned, and I'm like, great, now I hate Sleepaway Camp.
See? Chip off the old block. She
Shit.
notices things other people don't. She has a future in podcasting.
She does.
Yeah, she
Absolutely.
knows. Yeah, I dig that. Okay, there you go. Love or hate all you want, but my current list reflects what I value most in horror movies, which is entertainment and rewatchability. I did watch most of the horror fan favorites like Halloween, TCM, Exorcist, but although great, they did not make the cut for me. Anyway, sorry for the long-ass email. I didn't mean to gag you with so much content. Gag.
Sorry.
A familiar noise to Brandon.
He's gagging on Grisby. Yes. Grisby. I called him Grizz.
I'm a Grisby bear.
I will be sure to email you again with more stories and whatnot. In the meantime, keep up the great work. Sincerely, Roberto from San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, there's
P.S.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for a top-notch giveaway before I submit my 1-star review on iTunes.
You skunk.
Funny you should mention that because we are going to have a giveaway. Matter of fact, I'm going to do it right on. I'm not going to give away on the show right now, but I am going to look up our iTunes at the moment and see how many ratings we have. And I don't know if we said this on the last show or not.
American iTunes? We haven't talked about iTunes in a while.
Okay, well, American iTunes, we have 145 ratings.
Woo!
Now, yeah, fantastic. However, now we have the strive for 200. So from this moment forward, right now it's at 145. Anyone that submits a written, review for us on iTunes, take a screen grab, send it to us any way you want to, email, whatever. Do your thing.
Facts.
Let us know you have it, right? When we hit 200, we will have a big giveaway. And anyone who knows, ask the guy that got the giveaway for 100 stars and how much he got. And we do have stuff laying around here. So not to forget the patrons, they're getting stuff too. And I'm a little behind on that, so I'm going to probably give something away as soon as we get off here tonight. Either way.
How many reviews does 22 Shots have?
I don't know. Actually, let's see, because
They actually have more in Canada than we do. I'll give them that,
Well,
man. They've got a lot of follars in Canada.
As well, they should.
They got the better Canadians. So
And
it makes sense.
What am I going to do? I love moods too.
Me too. Oh, they got 77, so we're doubling them. Wow.
So
But-
stuff that in your
but-
Patreon.
Yeah, exactly.
I only bring it up because of Jeremy and the Patreon war, which I think is done now. He hasn't mentioned it in a while, has he?
That's okay. No, he's too busy selling T-shirts, which we got to get on now.
They bought a lot of T-shirts. They bought like 1,200 T-shirts.
And they should buy T-shirts. Good. I'm glad they should. Maybe some people want our shirts. Guys,
1,200.
weigh in.
Yeah, he bought a lot.
Well, hey, they sold 100, so that's a start. Hopefully they can make up for the other 1,100. We'll see. But either way, we don't want them to get stuck. We love them. Where the hell were we? Emails?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we're thanking Roberto again. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
you get a 22 Shot shirt.
And a 4K TV. Just contact JP. He'll send it to you.
I killed me.
You kill me too. Okay, here is an email, but it's going to be turned into a voicemail. And I'm going to read it all on the show because anything anybody sends us, I read. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. Unless it's like, Dave, come over here and, if it's real private, that's different. But this isn't real private. Okay, this is from our homie Eric Webster. And it's labeled Telly Savalas. Okay. Hey, gents, I don't think you need to play this on the show, but I wanted to share with Sorry, that's the rules, man. Yes. I haven't read this email nor listened to the voicemail attached, I promise you. So this is my first time. I just saw that first sentence and said, okay, I'm reading it when we record. So I shit you not. So, yep, I started shaving my head in the early 2000s and started doing it full-time in 2006. Not as bad as Grimsby shaving his whole body, but that's okay.
Lasering it. The old lightsaber to it, the nuts.
Right. Yes. Revenge of the Sixth. Yes. Okay. I recorded a theme song for myself in celebration. Oh, boy. One of the lyrics references Telly Savalas. And I started laughing to myself when I was listening to your Bob episode because I think it's the very first time someone has had a reason to mention him since I recorded this. Anyway, it made me remember this, so now you get to hear it. Enjoy. Well, and not just I get to hear it.
Awesome.
Everyone gets to hear it. Yeah.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Believe it or not, I haven't always been quite as damn sexy as I am right now. So I'm going to tell you the story of exactly how it came to be. Here we go. I used to have long hair. I thought it was the best. I used to wash it, condition it, dry it, style it, and it was almost like a pet. Then one day I started to notice my hairline getting higher. Days of my long hair were coming to an end. My predicament was dire. I didn't know what to do. So I called Telly Savalas. Figured maybe he'd have some words of wisdom to give me some solace. He said going bald ain't no big thing, just shit.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
That's okay.
Once I feel the joy of fresh new head, don't forget it was ever there. So I took Telly's advice. Made me feel like stepping out. And now these days, wherever I go, all the ladies scream and shout. Sexy ball man's in the house. Sexy ball man's in the house. So I decided to take a vacation. Got on a plane headed for Hawaii. About halfway there, the plane went down. I thought I was gonna die. Ended up on a desert island in the middle of the Pacific. All by myself, no food inside. The situation was horrific. Then a stroke of luck occurred. Rescue plane flew overhead. They would have passed right by, but they saw the light shining off my head. So you can see, shake your head's the thing to do. Not only is it sexy smooth, but it's functional too. Sexy ball man's in the house. Sexy smooth. Sexy ball man's in the house. Sexy ball man's in the house. Sexy ball man's in the house. So now I get all the ladies. They love to touch my head. They touch it, rub it, kiss it, and then they end up in my bed. All my friends are jealous of how I get in the ladies' pants. I tell them all, you long-haired fools don't even stand a chance. I do enjoy the ladies. They truly do amuse me. There is one aspect of the situation that does confuse me. There's a bit of mystery of how this came to pass. I can't be sure if it's my sexy head or my sweet, sweet ass. Sexy ball man's in the house. 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 Yeah.
Holy fuck.
You can touch it.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That, I have so much to say here. A, that kind of was Cool Moody-esque.
Yes, thank you.
It sounded
Yes.
like Cool Moody. Second of all,
Yes.
E.W. and Ice Cappuccino have got a tour together. He can open for me. But that's an opening act, no question about it. And third, I said a couple shows ago he was the only one on Dark Discussions with any sense. I take that back now. I think I have to give it to Philip. That was awesome. I'm kidding. I'm joking aside. That was awesome.
Bravo.
Yeah, that was
bravo. Oh, I can't believe you wanted to keep that between us. Are you what? Wow, I'm so glad I played that. My God.
Did we just oust his like?
Telly Savalas.
Do you think he like just listens to that on his Walkman when he walks down the street? Like I would be listening to it.
I definitely would when I was like walking my dog or something.
Yeah.
You know.
You know. That was awesome, man.
Yeah, that was great. Do some more. Do a song about us next.
You three sexy motherfuckers.
There you go. Yeah, you could do that. Right on. All right, so that's going to be remembered for a long time, that one. Now we have a message sent to us from our homie, BC. It's been a little while. In BC.
Exploding Heads. What's up, boys? Dave, Christian, Brandon. Oh, Brandon, I forgot you were here. I'm kidding you, Jew bastard. Love you, bud. Anyway, just saying hi, guys, and thank you for the shout out in episode number 79, where I guess there's a Dr. Carlina Casanelli played by Deborah Rashan.
Oh, yeah.
What? Yeah. This would make like the second movie that I've ever heard of where there's a Casanelli mentioned. The first one being, guess what? When Worlds Collide. They actually had a part where they're naming everybody to come onto the spaceship and leave. And they say, blah, 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 and Casanelli. I was like, yeah. Anyway, boys, great to see you back. Fuck, I love you all. Great to see you. Hey, another shout out to Jason Smith and the guys from In the Mic of Madness.
Right on.
And lady, Rebecca. Love you too. Anyway, just saying hi, guys. Great to see this fucking podcast back. We love you, and we couldn't do a thing without you. Good show, boys. Love ya. Talk to you later. Bye.
Oh,
nice.
Man, oh, man. You could tell he's itching to podcast again.
Yeah.
What's happened? Why the hiatus? Because too many other shows are happening?
I don't know. I think they're going bi-weekly. I think, honestly,
like
I don't
Brandon.
know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I tried that in college.
Nice.
Well, thank you, BC. It's awesome, man. Yeah, he's been full hog again.
Full hog.
I
love that saying.
Nicky Nine Doors over here, full hogging it.
We got to get him on. We got to get BC on here one of these times, you know?
Long overdue.
Yes.
I think we mentioned in one of the old, like the beginning, beginning, we mentioned that we were going to review his movies with him on the show.
Oh, they ended up doing that on Horror Mafia, his show.
Yeah,
so
and that's why they broke up.
That was the beginning, yes. That was the first chink in the crack.
Joey,
what? You racist motherfucker.
Yeah, that's racist.
Crack in the armor, whatever. Chink in the armor, whatever the...
Chink in the crack. Yeah, that sounded extremely.
Oh, it's not as bad as when C said tongue in chink last year. Remember?
Tongue in chink. Now you're going to the crack.
We really do crack ourselves up.
Yeah, sorry to that one guy that didn't like it.
Yeah. I love it. Anyway, thanks, BC, man. Awesome.
Okay, what else we got to talk about? Show 82 is next. And now comes the time we have to, this is something that we're so happy that Christine picked this, but she decided to, on the Patreon, to pick a year in horror for us to review where, 10 movies are picked and we do little reviews, little triple R's for the shows of a certain year. She picked the year 1982 and then proceeded to initially pick 8 movies and to pick the other 2. But one of those movies was The Thing. So I got back to her and said, well, we are going to be doing The Thing anyway in the Apocalypse trilogy, and the show after that. So maybe you might want to choose something else. So she did. So she didn't. And she says, why don't you guys each pick a movie? So we are going to announce the movies that she picked So now you guys, if you guys want to partake, you better watch these movies. And if not, well, listen without it. It's okay. The fun part is that we're going to each pick one, and that should be something. But anyway, the 82 show, these are the movies that Christine has picked. Number 1, The Aftermath. The Aftermath. Number 1, Death Scream, as we were talking about earlier. I don't know if that was pre-game or on the show, but Death Scream. Poltergeist, Tenebrae, Basket Case, Blood Song, and Alone in the Alone in the Dark. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll say it again. The Aftermath, Death Scream, Poltergeist, Tenebrae, Basket Case, Blood Song, Alone in the Dark. Watch those movies if you want to, and listen to us next show. And we are also going to review a Triple R for Colobos, or however it's pronounced, because way back when Dave Parker picked that for us, and we were unable to do it because it wasn't released yet. Now it's out, so we're going to throw that in there as well.
Awesome.
And, yeah, man. And now is the time. 1982 horror movies. Who wants to pick their movie first?
Let's let Brandon go. Mr. Hiatus. Oh, you don't have one ready? I thought you had one ready.
Now, here's the good thing. It's okay. She was smart enough to not pick anything, that we already did, like Halloween 3 or Friday 3 or Creep Show or anything like that, which is great. She's a listener of the show. She knows that we've tackled them already, so she thought outside the box on a couple, and that's great. There are a lot of movies in 1982. So
we also did this year on 22 Shots.
Correct.
As well.
We did. So we're very familiar. Yes. She must not listen to them.
I got one to pick.
Don't blame her. I'm kidding, boys.
Okay, B, what do you got? Or Grimsby?
I'm going to go with one that I saw for the first time when doing the 82 show, and I thought it was really good and really underrated, and that is, I'm looking at 2 right here.
I think I know what it is.
I'm going to go with The Incubus.
That's not what I thought, but cool. Good pick. Okay, cool.
It was between that and The Sender.
Oh.
Return to Sender. Yeah. Cool. All right, so The Incubus. C, what about you?
Well, I had The Sender as my option, so there you go, Pete. So you're gonna get to watch it anyway.
Fantastic.
So perfect.
Wow. Can either of you guess? You could probably both guess what I'm going to pick.
Creep Show.
I'm going with The Entity.
It can't be Creep Show, dumbass. We did Creep Show. We did a full review. No, it's not The Entity. I thought it would be obvious. What do I love from 1982 that we never discussed on this show?
Amityville 2?
Thank you. Yes, of course. I got to take a chance. When else are we going to talk about it? We're never going to do that trilogy. We're never going to do the freaking franchise. So, yes, any excuse to watch Amityville 2, I'm going to take it, and we're going to talk about it. So
I'm down.
So there you go. So the 7 we mentioned, The Sender, Amityville 2, and what's your movie, Grimsby?
Incubus.
Incubus. I hope these are going to be easy to find, Sender and Incubus.
If for whatever reason if it's not easy to find, we'll have a backup.
Yeah, we'll update. Yeah. I know Incubus is available. I mean, I have the Blu-ray, so it should be pretty easy to find.
It was on Amazon when I watched it last year.
Oh, cool. All right, then. There you go.
It was definitely on Amazon. The Sender, I don't remember. I think it was on YouTube, actually, but we'll check. We'll check.
Yeah.
Return
I didn't actually check
Sender.
that. I just went by movie title.
Is that movie about the mail at all, or no?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's about, and it stars Elvis. Who knew?
It's a sequel to You've Got Mail.
Oh, speaking of which, the teaser hit our site. Undead Mail. I'm gonna roll with this.
Do it now.
That was just a
Undead Mail.
teaser. Well, I'm not gonna actually do it as a segment on the show. It's gonna be a video segment for our Facebook page.
Oh, just
I'm
for
gonna
the
record it video. Yeah.
Okay. Undead Mail coming soon to a Facebook page near you. And another reason to join the Facebook group page, Exploding Heads. Get on it. Episode 82 is next. It's time to start thinking about episode 100. I'm putting you guys on the spot. I'm putting the listeners on the spot. I'm putting me on the spot. We don't know what the hell we're going to do for episode 100. But I don't know. If anybody has ideas, let us know. Or if these guys have ideas, talk about it now. I don't know, but time is ticking. It's going to happen. We're going to be down. Our pants are going to be down. We're not going to know what's going on.
They're going to be down for the show?
Nice.
What I meant to say.
Top 100 inches.
I'm at the bottom.
I could give you 5.5.
We don't want to get caught with our pants down is what I wanted to say. So there you go. don't anybody suggest we do 100 movies because we did a 50 movie show and that took 8 hours. So sorry, we can't have a 16-hour podcast. So I don't know.
Good.
If you guys have any ideas, I don't know, but it's approaching. We're gonna have to start thinking about what we're gonna do.
Solo casts. Never again.
Solo cast, yeah, that's nice. That'll
I
do.
could do 100 movies by myself in about 30 minutes.
You could. That's true. Yes. Don't breathe.
If I just speed it up a little bit more.
He's had more nicknames than anybody on the show. This guy with no nickname. I'm afraid to call myself Brandon. We had Brandon Don't Breathe, Asshole Lips, Skunk. Like there's so many.
His lips chinking the crack.
There's more tonight than ever before.
Tongue and chink. Cinco de Mayo.
There you go. Okay, may the 4th be with you.
That's what they
Cinco
call
de Mayo, Revenge of the 6th. There you go.
That's what they call May 5th in Asia.
Good God.
Good Lord. We just lost our Asian listenership.
We just lost a bunch of listeners.
They do not love us long time.
Those sons of bitches. Okay, are we ready for triple R? Shall we jump right into it, or should we?
Shall we jump right into it?
45 minutes later, should we jump right into it? Maybe so.
Maybe so. Okay, let's talk about. I really, really want to do this one now because the way C has been talking about this one, I'm really curious.
Oh,
okay. I know which one you're talking about. You want me to just introduce it?
Do it, man. Rock and roll.
All right. I'm assuming you're talking about 1989's Clownhouse.
Indeed.
Just before Halloween, 3 young brothers alone in a big house are menaced by 3 escaped mental patients who have murdered some traveling circus clowns and taken their identities. This one's written and directed by everybody's good friend and friend to all children, Victor Salva.
Victor salivating.
Victor Salva.
Because he was salivating. Oh, we shouldn't joke about it in this movie. This is the one movie you shouldn't joke about it in.
Not only that, watching this movie this time around, it's so obvious that this man has a thing for young boys. I mean, just from the very opening of the film, these kids walking around in their underwear.
You can't separate it. You can't separate it.
You can't. It's there and it's obvious.
It's weird without it, and then now knowing about what's happened, it does make it very difficult to watch. Yeah. And not only that, I'll try to be fair on the movie too. The movie itself sucks. It's very one note, and the acting is horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, the acting is not great in this. You do get a young, what's his name?
Rockwell.
A young Sam Rockwell, who just won the Oscar last year.
Oh, yeah.
He played the older brother, Randy.
Kudos to him, man. I like him, but you would never know that was going to come from this.
but you could tell, like, there was some talent there. You could tell, like, okay, this kid stands out a little bit more than the other cast members. At least I thought. Especially with his pants down. All right, I'm done.
To the acting, here's what I was wondering. In the first, 10, 15 minutes, I was saying to myself, is this weird acting or are they dubbed? Because it seemed a little off. It almost reminded me of Troll 2 or something, but dubbed. It seemed like something was off.
There's bad ADR. I think
they are dubbed.
Okay, well there you have it. So they are just dubbed. It's just done poorly.
Yeah, they that was the last thing. In fact, they were talking with Casey's character, who was the one who was molested by Victor Salva, that they weren't even sure if he was around to do the dubbing for his part.
Really?
Was it because the location sound was so bad? Sorry for cutting you off, Brandon. Because there did seem to be things where you could tell their mouths were moving as they're walking away from the camera, but they did the ADR, which is the recording after the fact, but they did it for the whole movie?
I think the whole movie, they said something about the cameras being very noisy.
Wow. That does happen. I mean, but not usually on a professional film. That's the funny part of it, or not so funny part of it. That even a low budget film usually doesn't run into that problem.
Yeah, and this was recorded with Francis Ford Coppola's gave him the camera. This was recorded at Coppola's home, and he gave him the camera that I think George Lucas used for American Graffiti, I think it was, and but I read that they had to do a lot of dubbing after the film was done.
Well, there you go, Dave, because that makes sense. But on top of it, the dialogue was brutal too, and I think that leads to the bad acting aspect of it as well. Like there's some just horrendous lines.
I agree with that. I will say,
Mr. Hollywood over there.
Hello.
You want to get that?
the one thing I forgot to do, I always remove the phone from the room. Damn it!
Oh, I want to hear that. Well, that's got to be good. Hold on. What are they going to say? No, I'm sorry.
Your subscription to Pornhub.
Call back later.
Oh,
I was gonna say the atmosphere though is really, really well done.
I agree.
It's well done if a smoke machine blowing smoke in every scene is atmosphere, then sure.
Well, I feel like that opening scene captured it well with the smoke because it was a nightmare scene. But after that, I really felt a sense of dread. And they talk about this film feeling claustrophobic, where I felt like it was the opposite. I felt like it was very open, given the size of the house, given all the outdoor chase scenes. And I was more scared of that because as a kid, what scared me more was the idea of being like out in the open and being chased. It reminds me of like when you sleep as a kid, you always keep your arms on the bed, you're covered up to your neck. Whereas now I sleep with like my arms hanging off the bed because I don't care. But you're scared of like what's just outside your bed.
This movie was made in '89. Did it get a theatrical release, or did it go like right to like HBO or something? Because I remember watching this. I caught the last 20 minutes or half hour, I guess. It must have been 20 minutes because it was all chase scene, and really that's the only part that's like kind of actiony in this movie. And I remember thinking, wow, this is kind of terrifying back in the day. So that would have been like 89, 90, I would assume. But I did not feel it was remotely scary at all, this view. At all.
This is
and
my
a
first
very
time.
Very one note for me.
This is my first time seeing it. I thought the clowns in the background were creepy. I'm not over the moon, but I'll say this. I think that had there not been a controversy and this movie would have been like played on the regular on HBO or cable back in like 1990 or something like that, I think this movie would have had a much bigger following. I think kids would have watched this movie and been scared. I really think that this would have been like what's that movie that everyone likes? Monster Squad, like a Monster Squad where people have like nostalgia for it and they enjoyed it when they were kids.
I don't think people knew about the controversy at the time. I think the controversy came out when he suddenly was able to direct Powder and he was having more mainstream things, and then the controversy followed him. Jeepers Creepers, but at this point, I don't think. Yeah, behind the scenes it was happening, but I don't know how well known it was in the industry. I can't speak on that because at the time I didn't know. I admit I only saw the climax of the movie and I thought it was creepy. But
no, the controversy did come out in the late 80s, like literally right after production was done. So this film sort of kind of fell into obscurity. Yeah, it got released in 90 on VHS and Laserdisc. It must have been filmed in like 87 or 88 because in 88 it says Victor Salva was convicted of sexual abuse.
See, there you go. So maybe, I don't know how it works, but 89, either way, I honestly do think that if this would have made because I don't remember seeing this on HBO or cable. Remember, I was in 11th grade or something at the time. I was balls deep into horror. I would have known about this movie if it was somewhere, anything with a clown back then, especially because there weren't really any clown movies. This is before It. What the hell was there before this? When was Killer Clowns made before this?
88, I think 88.
Okay,
so.
Either way,
but I did see this on vacation because I remember my parents were going to sleep and I turned it on, and it was like just at a motel that probably had HBO, and I popped it on because that's where I saw it, and it was just that climax of the kids getting chased, and I thought it was kind of creepy there, but I never went back. I must have gone back to check it out. I feel like I saw the beginning part, the setup before, but it's been a long time. And then watching it now, it is weird because it's really just so brutally done the sense of like knowing about the controversy too.
I stopped after like 10 minutes. I just decided to not think about it anymore and to take it for what it was, and then how. But at first, yes, because right off the bat, you do see a kid in his shirt, without a shirt, and a kid in his underwear. So obviously, how could you not think it, especially knowing what happened? But then it seemed to go away. Here's what I found odd. Later on, there's a scene. There's three brothers in the same bathroom. One's in the bathtub, one's taking a shit, and one's like in the doorway. How the hell would that ever happen? Would you ever be in a bathtub with your sibling taking a shit?
No, but no, and all joking aside, and again, not from the controversy side of things. These are the decisions made that I question as like, it just doesn't seem professional. Nothing about this movie seems professional. Now I learned about the ADR situation. Like, what were they going for here? It seems to be very amateurish, and I'm not going to say it's totally tension free, but I was waiting for that climax, thinking it was going to deliver then, and I thought the setup was fairly long and kind of dull. Then I thought it was very one note with the crazies taking over the identities of the clowns, and then suddenly they just target these kids, and that was the and then you're in the climax, and I didn't think it was all that tension filled.
Yeah, I mean, the movie could have done with what I feel would have been better with a few more kills, maybe show a little bit more gore. Maybe even a little backstory on the escaped mental patients.
How about the reason? How about the reason they escaped? They escaped because they were denied their circus privileges. Did you hear that on the radio? So they got so mad they weren't allowed to go to the circus. They just decided to escape and attack the clowns and take their freaking gear and go on a rampage.
That's the
so
sequel
simple.
to Attack the Block, Attack the Clowns. And you notice how they were almost better than the real clowns at doing their own makeup.
Yeah, you're right. They were right on point. You're right.
Chizo's makeup, though, was awesome. I thought he was a genuinely creepy clown.
They looked good, but it's hard to tell. And that's why I'm kind of giving this movie a pass. And my rating might be a little bit higher than maybe it should be, because I'm giving it a little bit of a pass because you can only see it on YouTube. And the quality isn't that good. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt that if you could actually see what was going on and it wasn't as dark in the third act with all the creepy stuff going on with the background with the clowns and everything else, it may have added to that. So I'm giving it a little bit for that because I think maybe it would have been better. And I think if kids would have saw this at the time, this would be something that they would look back on and say, yeah, that was scary, because at the time it was focused on kids. And I'm talking, the oldest kid is like, a senior in high school or so, whatever it is. You got 3 young boys, 3 teenagers and younger. You don't see a lot of horror movies like that. And when you do, they're looked back upon fondly. Think about all the movies from the 80s when the central characters are children.
Yeah.
People usually like them. You got Monster Squad, like I said. You get Silver Bullet.
Making Contact.
Making Contact. I don't know what that is.
Was that another Victor Salvo film?
No.
Yeah.
That was a Ronald Emmerich film. It's also called Joey. It just is like a ripoff of. I don't know. There's a lot of failed ones too that played off of what was happening mainstream that were pretty bad movies too, in the latter part of the 80s.
Yes, this is true. But for some reason, I could just see this film being. It was original. It was the first time you saw clowns terrorizing kids. For that reason alone, I could see kids catching this on cable.
Yeah.
And that's sticking with them and talking to their friends about it. Oh yeah, did you see that movie about the kids? The kids being chased by clowns. And if it would have made the rounds like other movies had at the time, like I said, I think it would. Unfortunately, what happened?
I did see it, and I did think it was scary, and I lost because I guess it was back in the day. I didn't know what the title was or whatever it was. It was years later that I found out what the title was, but. So then I was really looking forward to that climax again, but
so was Victor.
Oh no!
Waka whack.
Ooh, ouch. Yeah. No, I like the relationship of the brothers. I thought that was, even though I agree totally with you, see that the dialogue is cringy, but that's not their fault. They're delivering what's written on the page, but I like the genuine feel of and their relationship. They're constant bickering, they're fighting. This one's threatening to kick the shit out of this one. Then all of a sudden he's doing something nice when he's holding Casey's hand because Casey's terrified. It's like I genuinely believe that these 3 were brothers, and I think that was like the saving point of the film because their relationship was strong, and I genuinely wanted to see all of them prevail. And I'm not even sure if we saw that because they kind of leave you in the dark at the end.
Literally.
Yeah.
It was dark too. But I do like the relationship. I like the oldest brother, how he kept busting the other kid's balls. But then when the time came, he wasn't going to let anybody else pick on him. And that's
exactly.
family. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah.
Exactly.
he stood up for Casey when the tank goes, oh, wait a minute, what are you doing? You know, don't leave my brother alone. You know what I mean? So a little bit, I like that. That dynamic was cool. And the way, and it's a little bit odd considering who the filmmaker is, that they were busting each other's balls for like being gay, which is something you, of course, at the time, that's what it was. And that's the way people talked. Oh, you know, throwing out a slur. But I mean, at the time, that's what it was in 1989. And that's just another way of saying, you know, you're weak, whatever the hell it is. It's just the way kids talk. But this guy, you know, had dialogue like that in a movie, almost like, you know, it's just kind of odd considering what was going on with him and, you know, what's, you know, under the scenes here in this particular film.
Yeah.
But, you know, but I mean, once I got past that, I was okay. I liked some of the shots. I don't know. I got over it. The first 20 minutes, it seemed like the dubbing was bad and everything else, but it seemed either maybe I got used to it or something, it just so happened to improve. I don't know, but it didn't seem that way as the movie progressed to me. And I just kind of got used to the actors, what was going on my screen, and I fell right into it. And, you know, I don't know, I enjoyed it for what it was. And I just stopped thinking about the controversy, and I thought there was an awful lot of cobwebs in that house. Holy shit. You would think it was a haunted house, like a get-up, you know, like if you actually go to a haunted house around Halloween when you see all the cobwebs. How could a house have that many cobwebs in it that people live in it? I'm like, what the hell is this?
That was a big house with high ceilings. How the hell are you going to get up there and clean it?
Yeah. How about all that worry about popcorn? Everything was about that damn popcorn. They finally got the popcorn. One kid had a big bowl in his lap and nobody else ate the popcorn.
Well, he said he wasn't going to share because Jeffrey scared the crap out of him, remember?
Oh.
He was being a dick.
When he-
Yeah.
Yeah, he was being a dick. He's like, you're not getting any popcorn. So he wasn't sharing with Jeffrey or Casey because they were both laughing when they scared the crap out of him.
Oh, thank you. Okay. See, I somehow I missed that part of the
Yeah,
dialogue.
so he sits down and he's eating the popcorn, he's drinking his soda, and they're just like looking at him.
I'll tell you what's funny. All of a sudden, the oldest brother has clown garb on. He just
I
happens to have that in his house.
even wrote that. He goes to fix the fuse box. Next thing you know, he's dressed like a clown.
Just like that. He just happened to have a clown suit in his attic, a nose, everything right there just to do it. See, but that was cool about this film. The kid being afraid of clowns in the beginning and going to the circus. Of course, he happens to win a doll that was a clown. Of course, the clown happens to approach him when he's in the audience. Everything, it all just ties in. You know, he's afraid of clowns, and then nobody believes him. It's typical stuff. I like that part. I like the fact that happens. Oh, there's a clown coming. I get out of here. You're just, you know what I mean? Of course it's a clown. Freaking, that's what you're afraid of to begin with. And it turns out that it actually happens. I like in horror movies when that happens, where it's a boy crying wolf, and you know what I mean? And then it comes to pass. And then other people pay the price for not listening to him. Not that I wanted to see it happen in a manner of speaking, like, you know, that there was something wrong with his brothers, but still, I don't know.
The scariest part of the film for me was the fortune teller. She freaked me out.
Yeah, she was weird.
I thought that was Victor Silva in like drag.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first.
that
I
too.
was like, is this a dude in drag? It wasn't. I was just...
Yeah.
We all thought that.
I really did. Like, not to be mean. I just I was
so
like,
did I, yeah.
Jesus. Like, this is a handsome woman.
Look, the movie's an hour and 20 minutes, and really it's the last 20 minutes. They build to it, like as you mentioned, Dave, about his fear of clowns and everything like that, but it's still very amateurish, kind of forced. And in the last 20 minutes, I guess there's a little bit of tension and some scares, but I think unfortunately the amateurish nature ruined my enjoyment of the film.
You know what, though? With today, when you see any type of film with a clown coming out, with the exception, obviously, now of Terrifier and Art the Clown breaking out as a big hit, they're almost like joke films. It's almost like...
Except for Clown. There was that Clown movie that came out a couple years ago.
Yeah, Clown. Was
now we've
actually
got
good.
It, 2 chapters, and we've got Terrifier. Like, there's been some good ones, but with all the good ones, you get a plethora of bullshit.
Yeah, Clowntergeist and shit like
Clowntergeist,
that.
and fucking Derek B. just sent me a link. God, I hope he gives it to Horror Mafia to review for Clownado.
Oh, no. Please, I don't want to see anything with NATO in the title. Or
Except
clown.
for Mark.
Well, yeah, if Mark NATO makes a film. Yes, okay.
But this film would benefit from, like, an update.
Too bad that'll never happen, but yeah. I mean,
No, but it doesn't even have to be, a remake of Clownhouse. Just somebody take the idea of, working with a group of brothers or a group of siblings that are left alone for the night. They go to the circus and, they're terrorized by clowns. I would just...
Why not? But do it right. There's a lot of low-budget clown movies now, like you said, and a lot of them just aren't.
Yeah. But this one, I think, knocks it out of the park with the atmosphere. I really, genuinely was creeped out by this atmosphere.
There were some instances.
And I could tell if I had seen this when it came out, when I was 9, 10 years old, I would have definitely been terrified of this film. No doubt
about it.
about
most horror films, I think. I really think you can, for that matter.
Yeah, but I don't know why. Like, the things I remember scaring me as a kid were really well captured in this film.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That's what I'll say. And like you said, the last 20 minutes are great. The whole chase through the house, the way they attack the clowns, the way they attack the block and the clowns. Terrific. I thought there was some, I don't know if it was intentionally put in there, some comedic moments, like Jeffrey all concerned with the lamp that Casey uses to smash over the clowns. Like, that was Mom's favorite. But there were a few little running gags in there.
Yeah, no, that stuff was good. And again, I like the background. There was a flash with the clown in the background, a lightning flash.
Oh,
a couple,
yeah.
Right?
That was terrific. When he's up in the attic and, who was that? That's Bippo or Dippo?
One of them guys. I didn't know they had names.
Chizo, Bippo, and Dippo.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Chizo was the main one, and then Bippo and Dippo were the others.
Well, one of those could be your new name on the show. Take your pick.
I want to be Grimsby.
That too. All right. By the end of the show, we'll have another dozen names for you besides Brandon. That's fine. Nice. I think it would have been really cool if the brother was in fact hanging in that one scene. That would have brought out the movie a full point, I think. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Yeah, they you know what? If they were going to do that, they should have committed to that, because it's almost like they didn't know what they wanted to do with the older brother's character at the end. You didn't know if he was alive or not, but it was sort of like cheating the audience out of anything kind of truly terrifying by just having them find his body right outside the door that he was pulled through.
Yeah.
Like those clowns were brutal. Like, when they were killing earlier in the film, they were literally twisting heads all the way around.
See, there you go, buddy. That's something else about this film. There's kids. It's kind of aimed at kids, you would think, because the way things are going, and you actually see kills with a little bit of gore. That's what I'm saying. Usually you don't see that. They don't have kills like that in the Monster Squad.
Oh, that was all done in shadow.
It was. That's why they could have used a few more. They could have used like another group, a group of teenagers up making out at the point or something.
But he wasn't interested in that. That's fine. I don't even have a problem with the no gore. I obviously, maybe it would have elevated my enjoyment of it, but I don't have a problem with the fact that it was not gory. Like I said, I'm just going to be a broken record. Mine was, and it's not even the charges and everything laid against him. It's the actual movie itself. I just found it I found it kind of dragged for an hour and 20 minutes, and I didn't get the atmosphere. Like I said, it was a lot of smoke. 20 minutes, I'll give it a little bit of a pass for the end, but overall, not enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, the home invasion stuff was good because it was safe for a short time. I like that. I don't like a whole movie of home invasion. I like the third act and the way it played out.
It was like Alone in the Dark.
There you go, Alone in the Dark.
The home invasion is the final act, pretty much.
That's true.
But not enough character development in terms of these mental patients.
That's true. That would have been
none.
Not enough. There's none. There's absolutely nothing.
That's what I just said. Yeah, there's none.
There was more character development with the clowns before they got killed. When they were sitting there having conversations and stuff, you learn a little bit about the one. He was drunk and this and that, And all this because the kid wouldn't volunteer. If he would have volunteered and gone with the clown, who knows what happens here. I guess you can blame him, Casey. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed, buddy. I noticed that at the end of the movie, a clown gets bumped off the ledge of the house or something, and he does that flip. Did you notice the way he did it? There's a wrestling move called the Swanton Bomb, and that's totally what this freaking clown did. It was great, man. And I know some people listening know what I'm talking about, but yeah. What about Officer Friendly? That's one last thing I got to bring up.
Officer Friendly.
What is this freaking?
Not so friendly.
What is this, Mr. Rogers? Why was it played out that way, Officer Friendly? Why wouldn't you just call the cops? Why do you got to ask to speak to Officer Friendly?
I
The cops didn't
don't
believe.
remember
The cops
Officer
didn't
Friendly.
even believe him.
I know. They called. The one brother told the other, call here and ask for Officer Friendly. And they did.
Oh,
And that's what they said. I don't know if that was really his name or a moniker or what the hell the deal was. But why, it's a life and death situation. Just call the cops. I don't care if it's, what the cop it is. It could be freaking anybody. Just come help me. Officer Friendly. I don't know. I just thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, who was?
Yeah, freaking Mr. Rogers or some shit. Hey, Officer Friendly is going to come visit us today, boys. Mr. McFeely, Grimsby, and
Mr.
Officer
McFeely.
Friendly.
Victor Salva was actually an extra in this.
Mr. McFeely, Mr. Badfeely. And Christian has had enough of talking about this movie.
oh,
So
yeah. I'm looking at the time. We're an hour and 10 in. We have to do
it.
3 full movies.
Give us your
5.25.
5.25. Okay, well, I'm at a 6.5.
And I'm at a 6. I guess I'm surprised Christian came in so high.
Oh, I wasn't going to
felt
fail the movie necessarily because the ending, which is what you're there for, had some good moments. But I'm just saying it's so amateurish. Like I can't give it any higher than that.
I actually thought you were going to come in well below it, though.
Okay.
I really did. But I'm surprised. Like I said, I feel like this film just had so much potential, and it misses the mark. And, of course, I mean, I'm not grading it because of the controversy, but it's really hard to not see it in there and not think about it when watching the film, especially in the opening 10, 15
maybe
minutes.
it should be lower, but no, I watched it, but I was just like going like, once I got through that beginning part, like I said, I was kind of like David, I gotta let it go because we're here to try to judge just the movie, right?
Yeah, what can you do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that's what I let it go, and then I'm like, holy shit, there's nothing happening here.
Yeah. It was a
Anyway.
little slow, but
Yeah.
I bumped it up a little bit. I gave it the extra 0.5 because I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt because of the copy I saw. Thinking that if it was a little clearer, especially in the third act with it being in the dark, it might have been a little more effective.
Which
So-
copy? Was that Officer Friendly?
Oh my lord.
Wow. Okay.
Let's move on. Oh, thank you, Chris. That was from Chris T. So
Chris
Christy who?
no,
T, you son of a bitch. Chris, please give us
Chris
your rating.
P? Chris P or Chris T?
Chris Taylor T.
Oh, how about Chris P. Bacon?
Oh my god. You knew he was setting you up for that fucking bullshit
I
joke.
saw a news story once where that was the name of a pig in one of a petting zoo. His name was Chris P. Bacon.
Nice.
I want Chris T's review, or at least rating, of what he thought of Clownhouse.
Yeah,
I'm assuming
Chris T.
he's high on it because he recommended it to us, but maybe not. Maybe he was just trying to see if we're going to go all with pedophile jokes for the whole review, which is I decided
It's
not
such
to.
a shame. It's such a shame too because Victor Salva did make some good films. He had potential, and obviously he's just a scumbag piece of shit. But it's one of those things you can't overlook.
Oh, Jeepers Creepers was a great film. I
Yeah,
thoroughly
yeah,
enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, and you almost feel guilty enjoying these films. Powder was a good film,
Never saw it, but
it's it's one of the worst crimes. So it's
yeah, of course. But anyway, let's move on. We got one more triple R.
Yeah,
we got to
let's
get
do
out of
it.
this movie.
all right. Let's do it. 1981's Just Before Dawn, directed by Jeff Lieberman. 5 campers arrive in the mountains to examine some property they have bought. I didn't know they had bought it. I thought the guy inherited it. But are warned by forest ranger Roy McLean that a huge machete-wielding maniac has been terrorizing the area. Wow, this description on the B is nothing what happens in the movie.
No, it's not.
Because he
That's
does
why-
not warn them about any machete-wielding maniac.
No, he doesn't.
So
That's why some
basically what I
people-
just read to you, ignore.
yeah,
They
just say your
have.
own thing. Yes. Okay, now we all watched this last year 2 years ago for Year of the Slasher, correct?
First time
That
watch
was
for
last
you.
year.
Last year.
No, last year was Year of the Franchise. Year before was Year of the Slasher.
Fuck.
Huh? Time's a flying, my man.
Holy shit. Yeah.
That's-
that whole franchise you I forgot about.
Try
How
to
could
pay
you forget
attention.
that?
Yeah, try to pay attention, Officer Friendly.
That's going to be his nickname.
Yeah.
I'm here with Officer Friendly
This
and
didn't make-
Grims.
This didn't make any of our lists, and some people were a little up in arms about it. I think I rated it a 7 out of 10 back in the day. I said it was just off the list. Yes, Prom Night 4 fucking made it, and if I have to keep hearing about it, but Prom Night 2 were right there. This and Dr. Giggles were right there. They probably should have been on the list if I really had to go back and revisit it, but I'm fucking, just because it pisses people off, Prom Night 4 is staying.
First time I saw this film for the slasher show, I rated it a 6 out of 10. Watching it this time around, not only have I come up a lot on it, which is, the opposite of what Christian normally does, but it would easily make my top 50.
Oh, wow.
And Dave has always had a hate, like, you've never really got in. Well, I always used to get this one confused with the one that was directed by Andrew Davis, that was kind of lost. Oh, fuck. With the group or on the bus. It's got the dude that was in Sopranos in it.
Oh, is that Don't Go in the Woods Alone?
No, not that piece of shit.
Sweet 16?
No, not that one either.
With Joey Pants. I know
Joey
which one he's talking
Pants.
about.
Wasn't it Sweet 16?
It was Joey Pants' mother who was the killer?
Yeah, it's those crazy.
Oh.
No, the ones where they're on the log and it's like those creepy fucks that I gotta look it up now. It's the last.
I know what you're. I know what it is. Killing Spree.
No, you guys are you're fucking totally off.
I'm looking at it.
I can picture it. I can picture it. It's a 2-word title, and I can even picture the fonts of the letters. And there's 3 kids running on the cover of the box, on the cover art. I can picture the cover art.
I gotta get you the fucking movies.
I'm telling you, there's 3 kids running on the cover.
I'm looking for it right now on IMDb, and I can't find it.
No, the Final Terror.
The Final Terror.
The Final Terror. There it is.
Look at the cover. Look at the Final Terror. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look it up on the B. Are there kids running?
There are kids.
See? Told you. What did I call it?
Everything but the Final Terror.
It was a 2-word title. I'll tell you what. I gave Just Before Dawn a 6 out of 10 when we did it for the slasher show, which was not good enough to make. I believe it was 6.75 and better. Made my top 50. There was a few on the end, so it was hanging around there with many other 6s. Madman, Splatter University, Sweatshop.
Mad Ma'am?
Mad Ma'am, yes, the secret. It's a female, yes. Mad Ma'am.
Marge?
Marge. Oh yeah, it's Large Marge's sister. Mad Ma'am. So anyway, something I've noticed in the last 3 times I watched it. The last time I watched it was obviously for the slasher show. Prior to that, it was like about 6-7 years. And I remember talking about it, Year of the Slasher, saying that all I remember was the last act, this guy was walking through the mountains crying for the whole last act. And that was my memory. Now, last time, when I did it for the slasher show, my notes here say he was always on the brink of tears until the end, where he finally cried. This time, it seemed like he only cried for about 30 seconds at the end of the film.
It is it's just the roles change. So she was always playing the victim for the whole movie, and he was supposed to be the hero guy. But at the end, when it mattered, she fucking quote unquote manned up, killed the guy, and he's weeping. It's like they're
he froze.
Yeah,
he froze.
totally.
Like she talked about earlier when she froze with the other female friend. I thought it was actually brilliant, and I don't know why I just picked up on it this time versus the first time around.
We talked about that in the last time we talked about this. I thought we actually brought that up. Maybe not quite.
We definitely brought up the crying.
Mel's in it. Let's bring up Mel.
Mel.
I had him and I let him go. He's great in this too. He plays kind of a crazy Ralph-esque character.
Uncle Todd.
Yeah.
And his nephew Vachel.
Oh yeah, right.
I had to look it up. I'm
gore.
like, is he calling his nephew Rachel? I looked it up. It's Vachel with a V.
Yeah. I watched the subs as I was watching the movie.
Yeah,
here's the thing. How does nobody hear this freaking dude on any roof ever? The guy's up. The guy weighs 300 pounds. In the opening scene in the church, he looks up and he sees him, and then all of a sudden he's gone. First the guy. How the hell does nobody see a 300-pound man walking on a roof? First it happens in the church, and then later on it happens in a camper. Of course you're going to hear a person. You would hear a 30-pound thing on the top of a camper.
They do make a noise. He makes a noise when he jumps on top
especially on the camper. He makes a loud noise, and they don't even turn around.
Yes. I thought that was
weird. I thought they should have maybe kept him more in the shadows at the beginning. I think they sort of show the killer too early.
Maybe,
yes.
but I also like the fact that they have the little twist.
Yes,
at the halfway point. It's almost like let's get this out in the open.
Let me ask you guys. I'm sorry, B.
No, I was gonna say I like the fact that they don't have that as like, let's make this be the final payoff in the last act.
Okay, so let me ask you, unless I missed something and blinked, because I will say this. I have the same issue with it that I've had many times. It's a little slow for me, and I'm not on board the entire film, so I may have checked out. But, of course, we're talking spoilers. It's an old movie, but there is a reveal. All of a sudden, it seems that there's two killers that are maybe twins. I don't know. They look a lot alike.
Yeah, they're twin brothers.
Okay. Then at the end, I only see one person get killed. Is that me or am I wrong?
No, two get killed.
I only see the one thing when the woman shoves her hand in the guy's throat, and that's all I remember seeing at the end
That's
of
the
it.
second kill.
What was the other one? I don't remember seeing another person killed.
Roy shoots the other one.
Okay.
Remember, he shoots.
Is that not after he chops her down when she's in the tree? A great scene, by the way, when he machetes down a tree that she's in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's chasing Connie. The killer's chasing Connie, and she comes into the clearing with the killer, and Roy's there on horseback, and he kills her. Remember, because he falls on top of her.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess
that's when it's a good scene. That's the only thing that I got a little kind of confused by is after that. Roy tells Connie and Warren to go pack up and to start heading down the mountain. I don't understand why he wouldn't stay with them or keep them with him. He tells them to go start packing and stuff, and they go back to the campsite, and they're packing, and you could tell they're both really starting to crack up because Warren still believes that Danny and Megan might still be alive.
Well, isn't that why? I think he was going to go look. He goes, "You guys get packed up, get your stuff," and maybe he was going to go look for the friends. I don't know if he specifies that, but.
He might have said something like that, but it just seemed weird because you could tell these kids are traumatized. Connie starts putting on makeup; she's all made up, and
what a difference it made too.
Yeah, and then of course they're attacked by the other brother, and that's when they do the, let me fist in the throat.
Dave, I can sort of be slightly on board with what you're saying. The movie never loses me though. I will admit I would have liked a little bit more mystery at the beginning with the killer, maybe shrouded in more shadow. Maybe maybe it just went against the cliche, and so maybe I'm wrong in this case, but maybe I wanted more standard slasher shit, maybe. But there's some great set pieces in here. That whole part where she's in the water and he grabs her, and then she's like, get away from me, and then realizes her boyfriend is actually climbing up on the shore. Fantastic.
I agree.
And then the whole scene that you brought up when we were doing that Vertigo movie the one that Derek B recommended to us when they're climbing up the mountains and they're on that suspension bridge.
It was done much better than it was here.
Yeah, that probably had a bigger budget, but it's still effective here. The fact that we're in a forest setting again, I love a forest setting, and they took good advantage of it here, and the acting is decent in this movie.
I agree, and the kids are likable. That's something else that's good, and yeah.
Yeah, and what's his name? Warren also went on to have a good career as an actor. Greg Henry, who was the lead kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they had some people in here who you've
George
seen.
Kennedy.
Yeah, George Kennedy, of course. Terrific actor. So
he's probably there for like a day.
Yeah, but I agree that I like the characters, the scenery. I really appreciated it more because I actually found a decent copy online. The first time I saw it, it was a blurry copy. This time I found almost like a pristine copy.
I have the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I actually want to pick up the Blu-ray now, but I thought it looked great, and I thought visually, I'm like, this is actually a really nice looking slasher film.
It is really nice looking, but it's got that dream filter.
Well, this film was heavily cut and restructured. It was originally supposed to be very religious. And very much, that's why there's a lot of talk in the film. You hear them talking about demons a lot. It was supposed to be a very heavy religious film. And I would be interested to see, because they just changed it to a more basic slasher. Yeah. But I'd be interested to see what was cut out, because it might have had that look intentionally for what they were originally going for.
Well, if you get the Blu-ray, you'll see that. The Blu-ray has the extended version, but it has a lot. It's really not so much for gore as it is for other scenes that were actually cut.
They show them. Okay, nice.
I did not watch it because the movie to me was long enough already, so I didn't do it. But I'm aware that those, because I remember doing research last year for the slashers. Pardon me, 2 years ago for the slashers.
C did research last year. You did it 2 years ago.
And I was gonna watch it, hoping that there was gonna be more gore, and I was gonna like the movie more, and I didn't.
So your reading is remain. Or I mean, I don't.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. Yeah, I didn't watch it because of that. Like, I didn't watch the extended version because I researched and I was like, okay, we have an extended version on this Blu-ray. What's on it? And I read the differences, and it was all pretty much scene stuff. I was hoping there would be extra gore. I'm thinking, well, maybe if this movie is gorier than I remember it being, maybe I'll come up higher. And it was the year of the slasher. I was trying to come up higher. You know,
it could have used more gore as well. This film, could have used maybe another group of teenagers that were out there that get killed up, or like a random couple, another forest stranger, just to throw in, because they have the one kill at the very beginning, the nephew, Vachel, who's killed. He gets stabbed like right through the ass, and it's bloody and man,
great kill.
It's nasty.
Best kill of the movie.
You see the knife go through, and it's almost like it never lives up to that kill.
Yeah, after that, it's really not much, but the strength of the characters and the scenery and the performances.
And the whistles.
And the whistle.
And I think that was what I think I brought this up on the show again. I think that was like April Fool's Day had something similar, and I was trying to remember what movie it was, and I think it was this that I was saying it referenced. It kind of reminded me of that. They used that like the in Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
true.
For this movie,
I liked it.
This movie's grown on me quite a bit over the years, as has The Final Terror, which is another one that got kind of restructured because things got lost. I actually like that one too. Both of them, I think, were not initially supposed to be. But maybe I'm wrong on this one. Maybe this one, because it is Jeff Lieberman, who did do quite a few horror films. Maybe he wanted this to be a slasher film, but I feel like it started maybe something different, or I think it had higher aspirations and got marketed as a slasher film.
He still refers to this as his favorite project, even though it did get changed dramatically, which is pretty high praise because he's done some good films.
I'm curious. He's done a few. I'm curious about the beginning because it took place in a church, and they were kind of mocking religious things for a few minutes there.
Yeah,
right.
That's why I'd be interested to see on the Blu-ray, and to hear commentaries and stuff.
Yeah.
Why they probably were just going maybe because of Friday the 13th and Halloween and all that. Just let's remarket and make some money off of this.
You know what? This may have been filmed before Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you're right. I was hesitant saying that.
Well, it's 91 though. 81 it got released. I don't know.
81 it was released, but doesn't it seem a little 70-ish?
It does.
Style.
It does.
Well, that dream filter. You're right.
Wasn't that how it
That was good. That was real good.
Thanks. Yeah, good stuff. I think the funny part is that did anyone else notice that when we do get the actual bridge kill, that the guy does it? I'm going to do something that only the patrons are going to see and you guys. But when this happens, does it remind you of another movie? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Why? I'm not.
I'll just tell you what it is.
Wait. Yes.
Oh, I thought of A Christmas Story as soon as I saw him put the boot to that guy's face.
You know what, though? I thought that, I actually enjoyed that kill, even though it's a goreless kill, because you really felt Jonathan's struggle there in terms of really trying to get back up, that he was just exhausted at that point, and being kicked into the water was a much meaner thing to do than to plant the hatchet in his head. Because you plant the hatchet in his head, he's dead instantly. But he falls into the water. He's still alive going down those falls and hitting all those rocks.
Yeah, and then he jumps out in front of those two at the, and they that was good.
The extended cut is 12 minutes longer.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's mostly dialogue and scenes. Yeah. It's not gore. So I was like, well, what do I care? I'm not into the story to begin with. I was thinking, to me, it's always been a little too slow and a little too, maybe this isn't the right word, but strange. Just different for a slasher. Just a little weird, But I'll tell you what, boy, that girl in the third act, she was transformed. Holy God, I couldn't keep my eyes off her. Maybe that's why I got distracted and didn't see the other kill. Because I was like, man, this woman is beautiful. All of a sudden, I mean, nothing again. She was just, a pretty girl. She was fine throughout the film, but all of a sudden, not only did she put on the makeup and do all make herself up, it seems like she changed her shorts or something, because all of a sudden she had like these booty shorts on. Is it me, or did she all of a sudden, I don't know, did she change her shorts?
I believe Victor Salva directed that third act, and asked her not only to change her shorts but to change her gender.
I don't remember. I don't remember the shorts. But it was definitely done like for her character arc, for sure. But I don't remember the shorts specifically.
And I'm telling you, because I didn't notice the body she had until that act. So I was like, whoa, wait a minute here. Not to sound like a pervert, but I'm just a red-blooded male. And you know what I mean? She just happened to get more attractive in the third act. I was like, whoa, who's this? It was
So did George Kennedy.
George Kennedy, in all seriousness, looked damn good. It was the youngest I've ever remembered seeing him. And I was like, wow, what a difference. Between this and then when he was in The Naked Gun, and then when we see him again in Creepshow 2, it seemed like he aged 20 years within like that 8-year period.
I don't know why. I felt the complete opposite. I thought seeing him, like, George Kennedy always looked the same to me.
Really?
Like, even when I see him in, like, Cool Hand Luke, I'm like, George Kennedy always looked the same. Yeah, he gets a little older, but he just has that same look.
The first draft of the script that would become this movie was written in 1978 and originally titled The Tennessee Mountain Murders. The script went through rigorous revisions and 2 title changes before being filmed. It started in 78 in the sense of from a script standpoint, but yeah, maybe it didn't start getting written, filmed until 80. But having said that, you could see that there's a lot of stuff already happening. That's why I said I think we were right with Black Christmas being given that the nod as the first official slasher.
I think we were right, too. I've had a few people question it.
Then what happened is, because that laid the gravel, Halloween was the ground, like the actual paved the way. And then because of that, more things were produced, as we said before, and we got what we got. Interesting. It's just interesting that it did start its life before 1980.
There you go. Yeah. It has that feel. It definitely, you could feel it, literally. Like, well, not literally. You could see it.
Visually.
Literally. How's that? You could feel it figuratively. Yes, there you go. Visually. There was one funny thing I have to say. He yells at those people crossing the bridge, "Don't bunch up." And what do they do? They all bunch up. I felt like I was talking to 3 versions of my daughter.
Well, he yelled at them when they were already, like, on the bridge, so it wasn't like there was much I could do.
Yeah, but they continued.
They're already out there. It's like,
He should have said
given
before.
them the talk beforehand.
Yes, keep your distance. Don't bunch up. Yeah.
He looks back. Don't bunch up, and the 3 of them are like on top of each other.
Right? And they stayed that way. Oh yeah, come here. I'm like, what? So yeah, I don't know. That's all my notes. I was okay with the film. You know,
I enjoyed it a lot more this time. I really, really enjoyed this film. It would easily be in the top 50.
Same with me.
Yeah.
I could safely say that based on my rating, that it would have trumped like the first, because I started at the 7 out of 10 range, and this went to 7.5 on this view.
Whew, wow.
I went from 6 to 7.5.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're aligned.
I really enjoyed it. It's a solid little slasher.
I went from 6 to 6.5, but it still wouldn't make me.
Still went up.
Yeah, it went up. I appreciate it a little bit more, but it still seemed a little bit slow. There was still some downtime.
It is a little bit long for the slasher genre. I think it's close to like an hour and 40. I just was really taken in by the aesthetics of it, especially given the fact that this time I saw a good copy. And again, this was only my second time.
Yeah, right on. And you know what? I will say this. I was watching the movie. I was about an hour and 10 minutes in, and I had to stop the movie because my friend came over, one of my best friends who I haven't seen in a few years. He came in, and then I stopped the movie, and then I had to go back, the next day or something like that. So maybe because I was interrupted, I was unable to be sucked in fully to the film, and maybe that's why I drifted. Who knows? Sometimes that happens if you break up a film.
It does. It really does.
You got to be in that mood.
Yeah, especially with like a slasher film. Finishing it up like during the day or something. It's like.
And that's what happens, especially when I'm doing it for the show. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do an hour here. I'm going to do half an hour here.
Yeah.
And although I will say my Del Toro films, 2 out of the 3 were split up an hour, and I had to go back the next day and do an hour. But
sometimes we have no choice, just with our schedules and whatever. You got to fit them in when we fit them in.
That's what she said. Yes. So that one was from Gary Miller, I believe. Thank you for that.
Gary Miller.
It's Miller time. Yes. Let's take a break and come back. We'll have our special guest, and it's Del Toro time. See you guys on the flips.
Woo! Del Toro's our special guest?
We're back. Say your prayers. Ram Man is here. All right.
You know, Dave, to be honest, I had a song too that I was going to bring him in with, but it wasn't that one.
What was it? Go ahead.
Bong, 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 bong. Mr. Ram Man,
Yes.
bring me a dream. Making the cutest that I've ever seen.
Awesome.
You know, that's an intro.
I thought
Yeah, buddy.
I had no song. I'm sorry.
you had no song.
You deserve it. We are here with Abraham Ram, also known as the Ram Man, a longtime friend, a longtime listener of not just this show, but other shows I've done. I've known this gentleman for a very long time, and now he's even in on the review game this past year with the Ram Man Reviews. Not a podcast yet, however. Today is his podcast debut. Am I correct?
Yes, you're right.
What? Oh, I didn't even know that.
That's awesome. I didn't know that either. I figured you had to have done something at this point.
Yeah, I've had a lot of offers. I was actually the original choice to do Cut to the Chase with Dan Chase back in the day, but that never worked out.
Wow.
And yeah, Jerry Herring's been trying to get me on Kill the Cast for a while now.
Well, fuck
now.
him.
We brought your cherry,
Yeah.
Jerry. Nice.
Oh, man, well, that's great that you're here. I mean, you contribute to so many people's pages and to the horror community, so it's fantastic to have you on the show.
Oh, yeah, well, thanks for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure listening to you guys. Watching the growth from the first episode to now, you know, it just keeps getting better and better.
It's good to hear because sometimes we question ourselves.
No shit, we do.
I think we did one time, and then you even said, "Don't be so hard on yourselves, guys."
There you go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We got support. Nice.
Awesome.
Well, tonight we're having a very special show because Ram Man has selected these movies for us from a certain director, and we are going to be doing 3 from Guillermo del Toro. We are going to be discussing Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, and Crimson Peak. Now, Mr. Ram Man, I have to ask you this because you do bring him up frequently. I've heard you mention Del Toro a few times, different podcasts and, you know, correspondence with them. You put up the poll a couple years ago on our page saying that they should do a trilogy, and what do you guys want to vote on? So, is Del Toro your favorite modern director?
Yeah, without a doubt, he is.
Nice.
I can't disagree. Like in the sense of like visually, they always say from a visionary director, and I've never heard of the fucking guy ever before in my life. He should have visionary director and everything. Like his movies are amazing to look at.
Yeah, exactly. Just from that standpoint alone, you're like, he deserves a lot of accolades and respect. But it seems like he's too ambitious for Hollywood. You know, a lot of his projects never see fruition. And that's kind of a shame, you know? We miss out on a lot of stuff that could have been great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, if he's at the helm, yeah, I'd be interested in seeing anything he's connected to for sure.
He has that Pinocchio. I guess it's a movie coming out for Netflix. That sounds interesting too.
Oh, it's coming to Netflix. That thing has been in like on IMDb for years. It seems like.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and they say that's going to be dark, which I can only imagine given his style.
Oh yeah.
It's a black Pinocchio?
Yeah, Pinocchio attacks the block.
Yeah. No, that'd be really cool because that's what he does. He kind of takes like, especially with the movies that we're seeing today, like a fairy tale-esque approach, but dark. Tim Burton comes to my mind, but it seems Del Toro goes even a few steps further. Sorry,
Right.
I've been breaking up a lot tonight, Ram Man, so I apologize. These guys have been like laughing at me all night long, so.
Okay, cool. I didn't know how to respond to that. I'm just like,
Just nod your head, yes.
Yeah, nod my head. Yeah, I agree with you.
So he'll
Kristen.
stop talking. Yes, that sounds right.
It usually works.
Yeah, brilliant point, Christian.
Absolutely.
Wow, look at this. 2021, Pinocchio. He's the producer. I guess he's the director also. I don't know. I'm just going by what it says on the B here.
Yeah, it's
The
supposed to be
Witches?
live action Pinocchio, and supposed to be very dark like the original fairy tale.
Wow. He's a producer of The Witches, which is a remake. Oh, no, it's not. Maybe it's based on Roald Dahl's classic book, The Witches. Is that the original movie that he came out with in the 80s, The Witches? Was that based book?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
I like that movie. The Angelica Houston one?
I guess so.
Yeah,
It's only which is the movie I've heard.
that is a really well-made movie from 1990, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I heard that this version of Pinocchio, Geppetto is actually Victor Salva, and he really wants a real boy. Sorry, that's a callback joke. For whatever reason, now that we're out of the Clownhouse segment, I feel like I can make the jokes. But in the Clownhouse segment,
I feel like I need to apologize for the few jokes I made during the Clownhouse. I felt very weird making them.
We did this
Oh
backwards.
man,
We figured,
I can't. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that.
We made no. I stay away from. I tried to not make one joke during that segment.
Yeah, we did okay refraining, but then now we can't stop now that it's over.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I didn't want to touch. I didn't want to touch that, but Victor sure did.
Waka waka.
Oof. So yeah, pre-production 2021 Pinocchio will be on Netflix. Interesting. Director and producer Del Toro. How do you like that? Wow. Cool. Looking forward to that one. Well, I'll tell you what, all these movies tonight, for me, Hellboy is a first time, and Pan's Labyrinth was a third, and Crimson Peak was a second. But, I got to tell you, they really took me in this time even more than before. So I'm really looking forward to talking about them. And, I think we can do that. What do you guys say? You guys ready?
Yeah. You want to go in order of release?
Yeah, let's do it. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Ram Man? You picked it. It's your show.
Yeah, sure. That sounds cool.
Rock and roll. So, what's first, Hellboy?
Yeah, let's do Hellboy from 2004. Written and directed by Guillermo del Toro. A demon raised from infancy after being conjured by and rescued from the Nazis grows up to become a defender against the forces of darkness.
I like this more than I thought I was going to like it. I'll tell you that. I didn't think it was going to be my cup of tea. I avoided it for years. It just seemed kind of...
That's the thing with certain movies. Sometimes you avoid them. These. I mean, this is basically like a dark superhero movie, and they're not usually the ones I like run to. But every time I watch Hellboy, I really enjoy it. Yeah. And Ron Perlman is he's Hellboy to me. Yeah, he's a great Hellboy.
Yes, he is.
That's why I feel like sorry, David. I mean,
no, it's okay, buddy.
I just thought that's why I wouldn't necessarily embrace the new one that's out in theaters now. But although I like that actor, because Ron Perlman just nails it.
David Harbaugh, for some reason, and I don't know if you saw this, if you saw it, Ram, Man, the new one, but just watching the trailer for the new one, I said to myself, he looks like a very small Hellboy, but it turns out that David Harbaugh is actually like 3 or 4 inches taller than Ron Perlman. But just the look of the Hellboy, of the new Hellboy, looks puny in comparison to Ron Perlman's.
Yeah, that's what turned me off about that remake. He looks really, like you said, puny.
Yeah, did you see the remake?
Like Hell Girl Boy.
Yeah. No, I still haven't seen it, but I heard it's like really brutal. It has a brutal third act.
Like brutal
as in violent, or brutal as in brutally bad? Sorry, Christian.
No, I heard it's like a Mortal Kombat, but like on film, so the brutality is there.
Oh,
like fatalities.
Right.
Perfect.
Maybe they'll have a babality.
Right.
Hellboy gets turned into this movie goes in reverse, because in the beginning we see him as a baby. Maybe in this one he gets turned back into that baby from the beginning.
And then they have a friendship. Friendship.
I like the monsters, the villains in this one. I like how they play around with time. Again, visually stunning is going to be the broken record comment of the night. It just looks just great. And good blend of CG and practical.
That's one thing he does really well, and I'll say that with every film, is his CG looks awesome.
Not the blood.
I don't mind it. It doesn't.
The blood squirts, that's my only complaint of all films. Little tiny complaint. Minuscule, bitch. But CGI blood shots and blood squirting out when it's CG, I can never get on board with it. I
just look at it this way. The way you talked about it when It Chapter 1 came out, it's like a project of this ambition, of this magnitude. There's no way to avoid using CGI. So I kind of jump on board with it, and very little of it even stuck out as poorly done.
Not poorly done, but obvious. Like, I'm going to talk about a different film really quickly. But in Crimson Peak, when, I forget his name, pardon me, he gets stabbed in the cheek. And I can recall this because I was watching with my wife. And when he got stabbed in the cheek and they were about to pull it out, my wife says, "Oh, I can't watch." And then she turned away. And then you could see that it was CG. I said, "Don't worry." I said, "It's CG." Then as soon as they pulled it out, you see that it was practical on his face afterwards. But the actual pulling out of the object from the guy's cheek was CG. And it was obvious. And I wish the decision was made not to do that. Again, it's a minuscule complaint, but it's something I pick up on, and
and that was Thomas Sharp.
Thomas Sharp, thank you. You know what I'm talking about.
I do, yeah.
And didn't you notice that, right?
Yeah, you do notice it.
It would have been better without. It's so much easier. How hard is it to pull something out of someone's cheek and have it be practical? There's no need to have to go that route. That's when it bothers me. Yeah, like blood spurts. You don't need to do that. It's so easy to put a packet into freaking somebody's chest or whatever body part they get hit in and have it shoot freaking fake blood.
Hey, I'll take the blood squirts over the Hershey squirts any day.
Are you hard on CG, Randman?
In these particular films, not really, but yeah, in general, I don't like CGI blood. It just more often than not, it looks shitty. I always think of Freddy versus Jason, and that just looks terrible.
Yeah.
CG blood is not my fave, but I'm forgiving of it in superhero action movies. But this is darker. I do like this one. Like, I mean, it's. We were saying that we're a horror movie podcast, and we started the show saying that we only review horror movies. And I said, well, here's our first episode that we might have to sort of pull back and say Hellboy is not officially a horror film, although there are horrific elements to the movie, for sure. The monsters, of course. There's blood. There's violence.
Nazis.
And there's Nazis.
I think an argument can be made that all three of these films aren't horror.
Yeah, well, I did say that, and then I think Brandon, and again, you wouldn't have heard this yet, but Brandon said, well, this show is maybe 60% horror, but yeah, that you can argue that too. I said dark fairy tales.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
much.
Crimson Peak is horror. I think
Crimson Peak is the only one that I really truly think can be defined as a horror film.
Yes.
See, and that's the one that I see the most flack for. Everyone says it's gothic. That's it. Not gothic horror, that it's just a gothic romance film.
Come on, look at those ghosts.
Those
ghosts are
scares.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's total horror. It's set up just like it's a mysterious horror movie. It's a classic setup. It's gothic in tone, I suppose, but I mean, it's just like any other old school horror movie. It's set up like an old school movie, I guess. There's some mystery, and I don't know. Well, I mean, we're not there yet, but
I feel like we're reviewing Crimson Peak right now.
We're just reviewing them all. We're reviewing his whole library.
I love the opening of this. It's very Raiders of the Lost Ark feeling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
love
sure.
It. With the with Rasputin and the whole Thule Society and trying to open the portal to awaken the 7 gods of chaos. And I'm taking notes, and I'm like, just calm down, just enjoy the film, stop writing. And it was just easier just to take notes as I'm paying attention rather than writing every single thing down. But that opening scene with the portal, with the guys getting sucked in and turned into skeletons, man, the shots were beautiful.
Yeah, and the guy's fingers getting cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was badass.
Man, and para-abnormal.
It's great. It's a more convoluted. I find most of superhero movies and most movies nowadays seem to be pushing like way more story that's even necessary. But I did like this one. I dug it, but it was really a lot of extra exposition and background and lots of different villains. It worked in this movie, but I'm finding that movies seem to be like, we can't be too simple now. We've got to make it very convoluted nowadays. So, but it was enjoyable here for sure.
Yeah, they definitely started doing that at the beginning with explaining everything, and even the credits, showing these news clippings and all that, and it was really well done. But you could drive yourself nuts, especially if you're trying to take notes. Like, oh, what was that called? What was that called? What's his name? What's his name? But then I'm like, you know what? Just stop. Just watch the movie.
That's what I did. I took light notes, and my notes are mostly just usual with me, like funny observations. Like
which is what it should be. We don't have to like rehash every single frame for frame action in this film.
We never do.
I know.
It was too much for me. It was too much. It was a lot of explanation, and I didn't need it. I got the gist of it, and that's all I needed. They were Nazis. They're up to no good. This guy came out. he was probably meant to be a devil, and he's here, and but he ends up being a good guy, and he's in the world, and whatever. And they're gonna come back later for revenge or evil Nazi intent, and that was good enough for me not to get too deep in it. You know, my notes are: do you think that the Baby Ruth thing was a throwback to the Goonies in Sloth? You know, that's my observation.
They could have used a different candy bar.
I know. I think
Ruth?
it was done. I think it was done intentionally.
Yeah, probably.
Same thing with Baby Ruth, which what you think is a monster, Sloth by look. He was coached with Baby Ruth. Same thing here. You know, friggin'. You think this thing is a little devil, and a little Baby Ruth makes everything right. You know, same thing.
Are you a graphic novel fan, Ram?
To an extent. I haven't really collected anything in a while.
Like, were you a fan of this? Like, I mean, I knew that this existed as a graphic novel, but to be totally honest, not really until the movie came out. So I wasn't, like, I didn't even know if from a research standpoint, if it was a newer, like, I'm assuming this is all something from, like, the 1990s, maybe early 2000s, right before the movie got released. But I don't know if anybody knows the history of this.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think it's a 90s comic.
Okay.
And yeah, they just picked it up from there.
So,
You know, I don't know anything about comics. How come nobody talks about Hellboy 2? I always hear about Hellboy, and Hellboy 2, isn't it another Del Toro movie?
it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about it.
Hellboy 2 is actually, I really enjoyed it.
I actually prefer it.
Wow, really?
It's really good.
Yeah,
It is.
I remember liking
see
it too.
Okay.
I don't know if I actually had a preference. I just thought I think I usually it's on par with, but that one I've only watched once, whereas I've seen Hellboy 3 times.
Excellent point, Christian.
I froze again.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god!
I know what he was saying.
I love
man.
you guys though.
I do know what you were saying.
Brandon just looks like a deer in headlights. I just said that I use the on par description. I've only watched it once, and I've seen Hellboy 3 times, so it's due for another watch.
I saw these in the theaters, and both of them were great experiences in the theater.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
What they don't go into exposition is like the relationship factor. Like the girlfriend, they touch upon it. They give you enough, but I don't think they really hit you over the head with it. I love how he's jealous.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I love how there's he's like there's a sensitive aspect of when his dad dies and whatnot.
Definitely.
I like those layers.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
all great.
his relationship with his original handler, and then the way he interacts with Myers when Myers comes in. Of course, Myers takes a liking to Liz. Like you said, they don't really do a lot of exposition with those characters, more so of just kind of showing you like clippings and what happened in her past. You know, she's obviously in the mental hospital when we first meet her and stuff, so we get a quick glimpse of what happened and what her superpower is.
But they don't make you hate Myers. Like, he's not trying to be a dick.
No, not at all.
And Hellboy, and you could see, like, he realizes that, okay, there's something there between them or whatnot, and maybe he should step back. And fuck, secondary characters in this, the dude with the hair plugs.
Yeah, Clay.
Yeah.
His other handler
Clay.
before. Yeah,
Yeah.
great character.
Yeah.
A very emotional scene when with what happens with Clay.
Yeah, it was weird because I know Ron Perlman mostly through Sons of Anarchy, and his character name in that series is Clay. So early on in the movie, when he's calling somebody Clay, I was like, oh, that's weird. You know, my wife was right along with me. And then I didn't know if he ate cats or he liked cats because there's a line. Well, check it out. There's a line in the movie right before you know this, and they're going in to see Hellboy. What's the character's name that's meeting him for the first time? What's his name? Myers. When they're bringing him in there, he says he gets fed a lot or something. They said, talking about food, and they said he likes cats or something. They said like that. I'm thinking, does that mean he likes cats as companions or he likes to eat them? So I'm watching this movie and there's some cats walking around in the back. I'm like, and I tell my wife, I go, is he going to eat these cats? What's going on here? You know?
I think they intentionally did that almost as like a joke, just to make you like think like, does he eat cats? But no, he's just like a gentle giant. He loves kitties.
Okay, well, then my wife pointed out that in the beginning, when we first see him, the little Hellboy comes out. I guess there was a cat involved somehow in that scene. Was there a cat in that cave or whatever?
There was a cat in the cradle.
With the silver spoon?
A little boy blue.
And the Man on the Moon.
When are you coming home?
Son, I don't know when. What the hell are we doing?
We should get together then.
You know, we'll
That's
have
like
a
the
good time
saddest song
then.
I ever made.
It's such a great song.
That song brings a tear to my eye every time I hear it.
People are screaming right now, review fucking Hellboy already.
All right.
Raymond's like, I'm about to take back the Patreon money.
Yeah, we've literally been singing and talking about Crimson Peak for the last half hour.
No, we haven't. We've been talking about the characters.
Halloween. Halloween. This movie takes place on Halloween in the beginning. I kind of like that. Well, that's horror. You know what I mean? A little Halloween action, and it also works for when they're out in the streets. And Hellboy is free to the public for the first time, or exposed to the public, and they're having that choice with him and that Sammy thing, and they're off and running. And then the one guy makes a comment. I don't know if it was John Hurt's character or if it was the other character when he says, "Hey, trick or treat" or something. You know what I mean? Just, in other words, to try to cover up the fact these beasts are roaming the streets. But John Hurt was great. Getting back to him.
Yeah, John Hurt's terrific.
John Hurt, is he the guild guy? No,
he's
Dad.
Professor Bloom.
Yeah.
Professor
Bloom. Yeah. I'm thinking of
Doug Jones plays Abe Sapien.
There you go with Abe Sapien. I will have to give this movie props because the first 5 minutes of this film, I turn to my wife, I say, "This thing is gonna." Huh?
Am I watching The Shape of Water?
Well, oh yeah, let me ask about that because I saw The Shape of Water one time. My wife saw it too, and she loves it. Is that the same thing in Shape of Water? And did the thing in Shape of Water eat rotten eggs?
Yeah, the thing in Shape of Water ate eggs, not rotten eggs, eggs. So there is some sort of Del Toro connection.
Okay, but it's not the same thing. But it does eat eggs.
Yeah. Well,
it's not the same character.
I thought so. Okay, because again, my memory. I've only seen Shape of Water one time. It's been, since it first dropped. I don't remember everything, but I knew that obviously it has to do with this aquatic thing. But I'm like, I don't remember it talking and acting that way. But the eggs thing took me back. I'm like, wait a minute. So, okay. Well, anyway, when I saw that thing, the first thing I said to my wife was, I go, well, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to call this thing is going to get killed, and it's going to cause, more torment for Hellboy. And then later on, when it goes in the water and Hellboy gives it that thing and it loses it and it gets cut and attacked, I'm like, oh, I told you this is going to happen. And they didn't kill him. They did not kill him because that would have been typical action movie type shit. That's my issue with movies like that it's easy to call. So they swerved me and somebody else got killed, and that worked for me. So I like to give it props for that.
Well, I also like that they don't make him like the bad guy or the traitor at the end. Like that's the other thing about action films nowadays. It's like always like the best friend's the traitor at the end. At the end of the movie.
somebody's always infiltrated the organization and it's bad. Yeah. And you could even think it's almost going to be Jeffrey Tambor's character because they're butting heads. But they really, I love the way they played that relationship out and the way it ends with Jeffrey Tambor and Hellboy, and even the post-credit scene with Jeffrey Tambor. It's funny.
Yeah.
And
did you see that scene, Dave?
I don't remember. You have to tell me what happened.
He's still there. He's like, guys.
He's still there. They never, nobody ever went back
to
get him.
Yeah. I saw that scene. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Well, he's great because you do think he's going to be, here's the asshole character, and he has a couple of moments, but then they build on that relationship.
Yeah.
And there's like a respect at the end there, too, so it's great.
And it also is great.
It feels more authentic than most action and superhero films. The relationships between all the characters.
Yeah, and nobody feels expendable, even though people die. Like they mention everyone, like even all the agents besides Clay. They mention, oh, we lost two good men, or and Clay. They never really tell you if Clay died, but you assume he does because they said he was like in really horrible shape. But they kind of like, in all these other superhero action movies, 50,000 people are killed in one day, and all they're concerned about is the fact that Captain America, he got a crack in his shield, something like that. It's just like what the hell with the 50,000 people who were just killed. Whereas here, they don't.
Is he the original wisecracking superhero? Because
I don't know, but they all land. Most of them land. It's not annoying to me like it is like.
I will tell you, Deadpool 2, which people love. Deadpool 2 started getting on my nerves. I thought it was like too waka 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 waka, and I didn't think they all landed. Deadpool, the first one was great, but I don't know. I have a limit. Just give me stop with the wisecracking. Wait, I should have said cracking wise. What the hell we're doing on?
What's the matter with you? Yeah. What is this? Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, this had the right amount, and you're right. Most of them landed perfectly.
Yep, and that's to its benefit. And a lot of times they don't. A lot of times they're like, okay. I mean, it all started with Freddy and his wisecracks. You know what I mean? And and what's come on in horror, and then what came on, with movies like this. But they won't.
Yeah, we don't get any Nightmare 4 in here.
No.
Thank goodness, huh? So Hellboy 2 doesn't jump the shark, right? That's good.
No, I don't think so at all.
No, I would agree.
Nobody talks about it. So weird. Have you noticed that, or is it just me? I never heard anybody talk about Hellboy 2. I always hear people mention Hellboy. Nobody ever says dick about Hellboy 2. And they never talk about it being a Del Toro film either.
Yeah, it is weird because not even someone like Dan Chase, who loves the superhero films, brings it up. So it is kind of strange.
Yeah. I would have never even really thought of it until you brought it up, Dave, to be honest. But
yeah, it seems like it goes unnoticed. And it's a Del Toro film. You hear all about Del Toro films, the early stuff, of course the modern stuff, because he just keeps probably getting better as far as the way they look for certain.
I love how he reuses actors too. If he likes them, he reuses them. Like Perlman was in Cronus.
Yep. You see, and in Cronus, he spoke Spanish. Because in Cronus, some characters speak Spanish and some speak English. So he had you could have gone there and just spoken English. He decided to speak Spanish. And he did it. Which I always found really cool about Ron Perlman. That he for going in there and, Espanol. There he goes.
And that's the thing, not to jump because it really has no relation to what you just said, Dave, so it's a really weird thing that I'm jumping to, but Del Toro's not afraid to show gore. No matter what genre his movie's in, his movie has gore. The Shape of Water, a romance for all intents and purposes, has gore. This movie, when they take that Nazi guy's uniform off,
Cronin.
He's horrific looking.
Cronin is nasty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
And they talk about the self-surgery.
Yeah, the self-mutilation. He cuts his lips off. He removed, his eyelashes.
Eyelids, yeah. Eyelids, oh, that was yeah.
Eyelids, yeah. Eyelash. Yeah.
And that's what
his makeup. He's doing his makeup. It's like, I'll trim my eyelash.
Where's my mascara? He doesn't shy away from it. Like there are shocking moments in all three movies that we're going to talk about tonight. That that's what I love about them. It doesn't really matter. It's a part of him. It's Brian De Palma-esque to me. Blood is something that he is not afraid to show. It's important to him in his storytelling technique.
And great kills. The great kill with the train, the first one that we get with Sammy, and Sammy looks great. Back to the CG. Yeah. That all looks great too. Like I said, my only complaint was, it was a very small complaint. It was the blood. Most of the CG and the rest of the movies looks really good. Some of it looks downright fantastic. So no complaints there.
I love the look of Sammy and the fact that he's reborn every time, and then of course the final showdown with Super Sammy.
Super Sammy, yeah.
looks great. It's just it's terrific.
How about when they flash forward to the future that may be, and it's like all Lovecraft?
Oh yeah.
Shit, yeah. All those tentacles coming from the sky.
Yeah, those are all the gods from the other side of the portal. The look of the gods on the other side, very Lovecraftian. With it reminded me of again, I bring up Housewife from last year. Housewife borrowed a lot from these films. You see the tentacles hanging down, and it's just absolutely nightmarish.
So I want to see that. Yeah, I want to see a future movie like that, with other gods and tentacles. Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes, I do. Giant freaking, like we saw at the end of The Mist for a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mist too. Yeah, terrific.
Why don't we see that?
So they're just using that guy's face, or that guy as a vessel? The bad guy? Because his cheeks all tentacly and whatever.
You talking about Rasputin, the head guy?
Yeah.
He was just basically a shell.
Yeah,
because even references at the end, I'm just like a measly old man, and then he obviously withers away, and out comes the real god.
And sorry, Raymond, I cut you off there. What were you about to say?
I was gonna say Hellboy 3 was originally supposed to feature more of that those tentacle beings, the Lovecraftian elements, but obviously that never got made. They decided to reboot it instead.
Yeah, I remember after part 2 that they were talking about part 3 for so long. I didn't remember what the storyline was going to be, but it's a shame because it really had the makings of a super strong franchise.
Was 2 not as well received? Is that the reason why they didn't continue with Del Toro and that vision? Or is it just in our society nowadays, it feels like we need to reboot every 5+ years?
Well, I think both of them didn't do as well financially as they anticipated. So, it all comes down to money these days. So they never got the funding for that.
Yeah, that's a shame too. They probably made a lot of money, but they also cost a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, did you guys know that Del Toro was in Diary of the Dead as an actor?
I had no
I
clue.
did not know that.
Isn't that weird? Like I know it's completely off topic, but I was looking at him on the B because I wanted to see what he went on to after Hellboy 2, and if Pan's Labyrinth came out before, and if that's when he started, getting more popular, and that's why he didn't do Hellboy 3. He wanted to branch out a little more. I was just, curious to see his directing, and it kept going on, and you go into the acting credits in Diary of the Dead. Oh, you know what it is? Okay, he's just a voice, newsreader, uncredited. But bottom line, that was him. he was a news someone that read the news in Diary of the Dead. Interesting. But as far as directing, after he did Blade 2, Hellboy, then Pan's Labyrinth, and then Hellboy 2, and then he didn't do anything for 5 more years directing until Pacific Rim, and that was a big budget film. No, so.
Yeah, all his films. I mean, Hellboy 1, I have it here, made about $99 million worldwide and had a production budget of like $66 million. So that's not what they were obviously looking for in terms of cleaning up at the box office. And Part 2 did $160 million worldwide, but had a production budget of $85 million. So I by the standards that you see with these superhero films today, that have the $200-300 million budgets, they have to make at least $1 billion for them to even consider a sequel.
This would, I think these were still considered successes based on the budget, because that's not really high for a superhero movie, as you just stated.
Yeah, but, they made a little bit, but I'm sure when they were making this movie, they probably thought it's going to make $500 million.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, they're both received on the B. Actually, they're both received what? Hellboy 2 is a 7.0 and Hellboy 1 is a 6.9.
Yeah.
So they're received well. Yeah. And I'm looking at a Hellboy 2 and see, I'm surprised because I haven't seen it, but all the same people are there. Well, not John Hurt, of course, but Perlman, Selma Blair, Doug Jones. I'm like, wow, look at this. They all came back. That's cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
The only thing that I was upset about with Part 2 is that they didn't bring back Myers.
Oh,
Michael?
Michael.
They shot him 6 times. Though.
No, Seth Myers.
No, they brought back Mike Myers instead. Yeah. Awesome, baby. Or whatever the hell he says.
Awesome, baby. The worst Austin Powers.
Baby. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome, baby. Yeah.
Groovy is better. Groovy, baby. Is that better?
Yeah, that works better for me.
Okay, not quite as good as Grimsby, but not. Oh yeah, by the way, Ram Man, Brandon has a new nickname. It's Grimsby. So.
Grimsby, nice. All right,
Yep.
I can get on with that.
He doesn't like the name Brandon, so I said let's give him like a name, like a horror host name. And you'll hear when you see the show or hear the show, you'll see how that came about. So yeah, you can call him Grimsby the rest of the show if you'd like.
You'll wonder why we skipped over asshole, but we thought Grimsby was better, just for the show.
If I have one complaint about this film, I'm totally I'm sorry.
I love it.
I'm not even. That wasn't even intentional. That's such an asshole thing to do. Totally ignore you. Yeah. I was just looking at my notes and they kind of made a big deal throughout the movie that Rasputin knew Hellboy's real name. And then it was just kind of used almost nonchalantly, like he said it, and then all of a sudden, the portal opens and hell is coming to Earth. But the showdown with the final Sammy was just, even though the look was awesome, I just felt was a little anticlimactic. Could have been a little bit longer. I don't want to say anticlimactic; just should have been a little bit longer.
Yeah,
no, I agree with that. A little too quick, yeah, for me.
Yeah.
I wish it was stretched out just a little longer. I don't want it overblown either, but
just maybe a little bit more struggle for Hellboy, because it just seemed like, even though he was getting tossed around like a rag doll, like he had the belt of the grenades, and you just kind of knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, from a ratio standpoint of that time frame based on the length of the movie, I think you're right. Yeah, it probably could have just used a little bit more.
But again, at least it had, even though it was dark, it was still lighthearted and comical, even in the very end, with him, making the comment, "Oh, this is really going to hurt." Normally, you would kind of roll your eyes at something like that, but in this movie, those comments and jokes work.
Yep, I'm with that. What about Ilsa? No one's spoken about her yet.
Yeah, Elsa, I thought she was going to figure more in the film. I don't know. She just almost seemed irrelevant.
Yeah, they needed
Yeah, but I liked her.
It was more Rasputin and Cronin who was awesome with those blades. But yeah, I liked Ilsa when she was on screen. But there should have been more. Maybe have her live.
You're absolutely correct. They kind of they have her be kind of kick-ass, but she's so secondary that they don't really do anything with it. It's almost like a afterthought. Like it's almost like she should have a showdown with Selma Blair.
With Liz. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that
like
would have been awesome.
Yeah, that would have been like a cool way to do it.
For sure. She did crack him with the hammer, though. Towards the end of the movie, you know what I'm talking about? The hammer, the giant, the thing.
Yeah, I guess, but it's just still, I feel like more.
No, I hear you. I just wanted to give her a shout out. That's all, because she fit in. It's the perfect name for a Nazi girl.
Still, my favorite bad guy is that wind-up guy with the sand and the.
Oh,
that's Cronin.
Yeah,
Cronenberg.
Yeah,
I think that's how you say his name.
Cronin turd.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, here's a question. John Hurt's character, whatever his name is, Doctor or something, or what is it?
Dr. Broom?
Dr. Broom, okay.
Yeah, Dr. Broom.
Why wouldn't he recognize that guy? He was there in the beginning of the movie. He was the guy that saved Hellboy. He saw that same guy with a shield in front of his face, right? How come later on in the movie when all that shit goes down and he goes in there and he's dead, he just acts like it's, any other person? You would think he'd say, what are you doing here? You know what he did? He checked them out like on a table, but he didn't act like he was surprised.
Well, no, they thought he was dead, and then he discovers the note inside that tells them about Moscow, and then later when he comes back to life and attacks them in the library, that's when he realizes that it was all a setup, and so he's nonchalant because he knows he's going to die, and they got the better of him.
That part I know, and that was great. He was nonchalant because he knew what was going to happen that very minute when he saw Rasputin come out. That I get. But when he first saw him, it was like a no sell. It could have been anybody, any foe. Yeah, it was a no sell for that. It was like it could have been any foe of Hellboy or any normal person. He was like, oh, who's this guy? He didn't say who is this guy, but you would have thought that he would have reacted differently when he saw this old foe from freaking 40 years earlier or whatever.
See, I think he was intentionally quiet and like non-responsive because he knew instantly.
Is that the ice cream truck?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know you guys could hear that.
Can you get me a Choco Taco?
Oh, Jesus.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. We're going to make fun of you for the rest of the night now.
No, it's fine. I had my phone ringing before, so it's not as bad as that.
Yeah, man, it's the sounds from the hood. That's what happens.
The ice cream Ram Man. Yes.
Yeah, ice cream truck, drive-bys, helicopters.
Gunshots and screaming children.
Ghetto bird, yes.
Yeah, the ghetto bird.
Oh, that's great, man. Did anyone think that when you're looking at Hellboy, you know what he was reminding me of when they show like his red skin and those things on it, those designs? Do you guys remember like in the early 2000s when fruit roll-ups started having shapes in their fruit roll-ups? Because I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Now that you mention it, that's what I'm thinking of. But you're right.
No, I didn't think that at all. But that's hilarious.
I thought it right away.
Hellboy, brought to you by Fruit Roll-Ups.
And it was probably going on at the time this movie was made. 2000.
Oh man,
roll-up shapes. Yeah.
Fruit Roll-Ups are amazing.
They are delicious.
Let's review Fruit Roll-Ups.
Absolutely
right now.
Horrible. They're horrible for you.
Oh, they're absolutely horrible for you. They're literally just cavities.
Was there anything, Ram Man, that you would like to bring up? Because we don't do things like in a linear or cohesive manner on the show. We just talk about the movie. Whatever pops in, we talk about it. Was there anything that from your notes or from your observations or just from your love of the movie that you want to bring up?
No, you guys are pretty much nailing everything. All of my notes are out of sequence as well, so we're pretty much on the same page with everything. Again,
visually, I can't praise the movie enough. I watched it on Netflix, though. I don't think it was a 4K copy because they're starting to put more 4K content on there now.
Yeah, well, you know what? 4K, you have to get a separate Netflix now.
I think I've got it, though. I got the option to get it because it'll tell me if it's an HDR or or whatever. Yeah.
I thought you have to have a completely different subscription, almost like having Hulu with or without the commercials costs $3 more. I think on Netflix it's like $3 more if you want to upgrade to the HDR version.
I think ours was, we already got jacked up prices, and I think it included 4K, because once I got the 4K TV, it just automatically gives me the options. And it'll say this is presented in HDR or whatever as well.
3 moose a month? I can't afford this.
3 meese?
Yeah,
This is what I got to deal with on the show on a regular basis.
What was that? Was that vice versa?
Huh? It was an old joke from the show when we were talking about the plural of moose, and you said it was moose.
Yeah, no, but I think that was originally from the Judge Reinhold movie, Vice Versa, where they're talking about it.
Oh,
This is the only time in the history of podcasts that the movie Vice Versa was brought up.
You know what? Fred
I saw that
Savage
movie in the
and Judge-
theater.
That's a great movie. Judge Reinhold and Fred Savage.
It was at the time when they had like father, like son, vice versa, and there was a third one.
Like Father
18
Like-
again.
Like Father Like Son was great also with Kirk Cameron and Dudley Moore.
Freaky Friday, right? Oh, no.
God, we have talked about every movie but Hellboy.
Oh, I'll tell you what. This one was visually good. That funeral scene was freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
De Palma again with the umbrellas, and then
He has
they-
umbrellas in every movie.
Oh.
Sorry. Just realized it. All 3 movies tonight, there's umbrellas.
I just love the parting of the umbrellas as the
Yes.
as the casket comes through, and it just the rain's coming down, and then it just pans up to Hellboy staring down,
Brilliant.
and it just
Dude,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, visually stunning.
The parting of
Except
the,
the broken
of the umbrellas it rivals the parting of the Reds.
They had Moses there.
Yeah, Moses. No, but
Moses
that was
Eimer.
really, Moses who? Malone?
Yeah, Moses Malone.
Moses Malone.
This guy with the fucking corn cobs in his ears.
Cum cobs. Woo.
How about the hospital scene where Liz accidentally kills pretty much like everybody at the mental institution?
Oh, that was great. Was that real? Yeah, it had to have been.
That was real.
So she had nowhere else to go. She had to go back to Hellboy and wherever the hell they were hanging out.
Yeah, they made it sound like she's just coming for the weekend. Like she's just
Yeah,
gonna
right.
stop for the weekend.
She
Like,
blew
nah,
that
I
whole
think-
place up.
You just killed about 300 innocent people. I think you're here for good now.
Yeah, what happened to their funerals? Yeah, you're right. Shit.
They didn't have enough umbrellas in the budget. And I love that Hellboy, shaves down his horns because he's
so
he's
cool.
embarrassing them. It's terrific.
Yes, and how they come back at the end. And
Looks like he's got 2 pepperonis sticking out of his head.
Don't mention the horns.
I'm a Hellboy. You want the pepperoni?
Hey,
worst-
it's me,
the
Mario.
worst.
Yeah,
The
that's
worst
right.
Italian
Marco.
impersonation ever. We have a third now. Let's just kick Brandon off.
You can't tell me that looking at Hellboy's head that those don't look like 2 salamis sticking out of his head.
I never want something that looked like fruit roll-ups or salamis.
This movie made me very hungry.
I'm
It's
getting
evident
hungrier
with
by
you
the
two.
second. My God.
Jesus Christmas.
Yeah, maybe we should rate it. Christian, what do you think, buddy? No. Let's
Yeah,
let
we gotta let our guests go first.
Yes. Ram,
Okay,
the
cool.
floor is yours, sir.
Let's see, Hellboy. I give this one 4 pepperonis out of 5.
Nice.
So that'd be 8 out of 10.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you guys do
it's-
this
it's
out
okay.
of 10.
Yeah.
I give this a B+.
Nice. I do too. I'm with you. I would say the same thing. It's an 8 out of 10 for me, a B+ or 4 pepperonis. Take your pick.
Well, I feel like we're all in line. I had 8 out of 10 for pepperonis, whatever the fuck. I love it. It's a lot of fun.
I'm slightly a little higher. I'm going to give it 8.5 fruit roll-ups out of 10.
Nice. With the shapes, absolutely. Cool.
Yeah.
All around a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was definitely fun, and I'm absolutely gonna be watching part 2. In the very
Oh, definitely. You definitely got to see
yeah,
it.
Oh, yeah, you got to get into that one for sure.
no question. Yeah, I waited too long to see this one, and I'm glad I did. And yeah, part 2 is next on the agenda. Well, not next, but it's coming soon. Maybe we'll talk about it next show. As a update. Like Unsolved Mysteries. Shall we move on to Pan's Labyrinth? Are we ready for that?
Pan's Labyrinth, starring David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly.
What?
You know how many people have said that to me every time I bring up Pan's Labyrinth? Even my dad, I'm like, Dad, you got to watch Pan's Labyrinth with me. He's like, I love that movie. I love Jennifer Connelly. I'm like, no, this isn't that.
So one person's brought it up to you.
No, another friend. Skunk.
I guess it's one.
Pan's Labyrinth from 2006, again written and directed by Guillermo del Toro. In the Phalanges Spain of 1944, the bookish young stepdaughter of a sadistic army officer escapes into an eerie but captivating fantasy world. I hope I'm saying that right. Phalanges?
Fellatio?
Phalanges? It was their like political ideology. Like they were like what? Like it was like fascist Spain, I guess.
Philanthropes? Philistines? I don't know. Whatever they were. I didn't pay too much attention to that part of it. I'll tell you what though, Del Toro, his backdrop is war in like every movie, no? Isn't there always war or Nazis or something involved in every film?
As a backdrop, maybe? I don't know about every film.
I'm exaggerating, but in plenty of films he has.
Yeah, it is a central theme in a lot of his films.
Yeah, I guess he's into it. I mean, it makes sense, especially in this one because this is, I think this hits home with him.
This, I'm just gonna go out there and say it right from the start. Whether it's, of course, it's spoilerish for my ratings, but to me, this is his masterpiece.
I agree, sir.
This is his masterpiece, and from a musical standpoint, from the score to the visuals to the characters to every aspect of this movie, it is perfect or near perfect.
Yeah, it's flawless.
Yeah,
it's my favorite Del Toro.
I was going to ask you earlier, unless it was going to spoil something, if what was your favorite? And yeah, this one and A Shape of Water for me. I love both. A Shape of Water to me is just a love of movie making. I got to be honest, I realized I hadn't finished this movie before. It's another one of those movies. I thought I had. I actually had said I watched it and everything else, but then when I watched it for this show, I realized I must have fallen asleep or never saw the last act of the movie. And wow, so this was a treat for me because the ending was something that if I did see it, I didn't remember it at all. So I actually believe that I never did finish this movie. And it was amazing. And when something we didn't bring up earlier, that when you were doing the credits for it, he writes his movies too, or he's part of the process.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. Like that shows even more talent.
Yeah, he does everything. He writes, directs, produces pretty much all his films. These are truly his films.
This is a dark fairy tale. So yeah, you can argue it's not maybe traditional horror, but like every fairy tale, there's horrific elements there, and there's monsters, human monsters, there's monsters in this movie. That guy is an absolute freaking prick.
Oh, yeah, you forget. It's been a while since I've seen it, but you forget how evil Captain Vidal is. He is one of the worst horror villains I've ever seen, or villains, period. Whether or not you consider it a horror, but man, I'm on board with the fairy tale aspect, just from the narration of the story of the princess from the very beginning, and her seeing, it looks like a walking stick praying mantis, but she refers to it as a fairy. And it's stunning and just poetic and beautiful and haunting and tragic and uplifting and sad and every emotion possible in this film.
I didn't get I obviously, based on what I said, I didn't see this in the theater, and that's one thing I wish I could go back and check this out in the theater.
Yeah, I got to see it in the theater, and I was surprised because this was the year it was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film, and it actually didn't win, which is a big upset. It didn't win the Oscar. That doesn't mean anything, but it's such a fantastic film.
Yeah, but what could have possibly beaten this that year?
It was a film called The Lives of Others, which happens to be a terrific film also. It stars the lead actor from the original Funny Games.
I don't know. It sounds like bullshit.
I think it's bullshit that this didn't win. This deserves so much recognition, and, of course it does have that, but the other film is pretty good.
Well, I think that after I finished watching the movies, I told my wife that I think Shape of Water. Now, I must confess, I've only seen Shape of Water once, and it was on my computer, and I haven't watched it in my home with my system and on Blue, and maybe that'll change my opinion, and it's all about second view Dave. So I might recant this later. But when I finished watching these 3 movies, I said, I'll tell you right now, I think that 2 of these movies are better than Shape of Water. That's what I said.
Wow. I still haven't seen Shape of Water. I feel guilty for that. I still haven't seen it, but it's on the short list.
Yeah, I love it, but this definitely was just amazing, an amazing experience. And again, from a historical standpoint, I know we kind of touched upon it, but to go from Hellboy to then go back to make a foreign language film, what was the reasoning for that? Just because he wanted to go back and make a movie for him? Or was he not granted?
Well, this one takes place in Spain. This is dealing with their war at the time.
Yeah, but so he filmed it in Spanish. But
that's what I think.
He just made an American film right before that. So it's just, I love the fact he did it, but it's surprising to me that he went back to film it in Spanish.
Yeah,
and not an English film.
Well,
maybe because Hellboy didn't do as amazing as they thought it would at the box office. Maybe he's just like, you know what, I'm going to go back and go back to my roots. And
yeah, well, that's what I want to know. Like that's interesting to me, but it works. I mean, it's amazing. Like I would have hated because they probably would have done something where it was either with just accents or subtitled for a certain portion and then went into English for whatever. So it works, and the way the story unfolds is fantastic.
Yeah, and one thing again, what he does, which having such huge set pieces and so many characters, is he writes his characters so well. Nobody feels like filler. There's development even in the smallest characters. I think specifically of the scene with the farmers who are captured.
Yeah,
I mean that's a horrific scene, and
damn.
I mean, you connect with those characters just in literally 3 sentences that they have of dialogue in the whole movie, and then of course the realization afterwards when he finds the rabbit and realizes that they were telling the truth, they were just out there hunting for food, and it's just brutal. But you know, it's so important to showcase just how evil this character is.
And seeing the gore was phenomenal when he smashed the shit out of his face.
Oh
yeah, that was
God.
great.
So I said he's not afraid to show it. Doesn't matter
Right.
if it's like a fairy tale esque. Like it's dark, and that's what he says. It's important to his story and to show the monster that this guy is. And to follow it up with like scenes that are absolutely terrifying, with that creature that gets off that table and starts falling her back, and she has to draw the chalk outline to escape from that room again. That's a scary scene.
Damn straight.
And so creative, just that little thing, just to put the eyes in the hands and have them hold the hands up, it's so cool. I mean, that's
and that's
so
Doug Jones, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah, that's Doug Jones too. Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was Dave Parker.
Why? Because it was naked?
Yeah. Mr. Parker.
Nice.
Mr. Parker. Mrs. Parker.
I'm pissed off at her though for eating those grapes. You dumb son of a bitch.
Oh,
how many
kid.
times?
She
Don't
said-
eat the grapes. He said under any circumstances, absolutely do not touch the food. She couldn't freaking hold it for a second. Don't eat those two grapes. Look,
Dude, did you see the size of those grapes? I would have eaten one too. Those things were like softballs.
And it's not like she knew the fairies for that long.
Yeah, and that's a great thing they do throughout the movie is
Those poor
she really doesn't she trusts them, but she's still skeptical. And that's another great thing throughout the film. You really don't know, unless you've obviously seen the film before, whether or not the fawn is good intentioned or not.
When they all of a
intentioned.
sudden, dude, all of a sudden in that one scene, like when you first meet the fawn, I buy it hook, line, and sinker. Then later on, there's like a questionable moment, and then you see a look, and then you see that he laughs a certain way. And all of a sudden, from that moment on, he finds a way to turn that character on its ass. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, is this evil intentions? This is the 3rd time I saw this movie, and you'd think I would have known by now, but they've been too spaced out. So I'm watching, I'm like, I remember something crazy happened at the end, but as I'm watching, I'm like, wait a minute. Now I'm looking at this thing, and it's like a trick that I think he does, and it works, where I'm looking at this fawn, and I'm like, maybe the intentions, I mean, she's totally believing this thing. How does she know what's going on here? Then you see about the baby, and what's that? He doesn't answer the question about the baby, and then there's the knife later. I just like, okay. I don't know, but it had me questioning that character. When in the beginning, I didn't question it whatsoever. You know,
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah,
come on, there's
initially
fairies and
you
everything.
don't. You don't.
But then you're thinking, it got turned into a fairy because she willed it into that. Like,
Yeah.
it was really a praying mantis, which, you know, it's kind of an ugly insect. But then she think, are you a fairy? Then it turns into a fairy. So if these are malicious creatures, that's just like another skill they can have to take on the form of something that she would be into. So that it got me thinking. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Is there evil intent going on here? What's going on? But then, of course, you know, later on when she does the thing and she eats the grapes and we find out what happens, I'm like, okay, I don't think that there's anything, you know, going on here except the obvious. But and then I have a whole other theory that I'll get into later. But how about drawing the freaking? You think that was a nod to Beetlejuice with the chalkboard?
No, I don't think so.
I totally thought it. In case of emergency, draw a door. And didn't they use chalk and Beetlejuice when they did
They
it?
did, but
Yeah.
she didn't draw the knob.
This is true.
I saw a picture of you. The Ram. I love how we have like that's his name, Ram Man. You say this is
Ram,
your
Watson,
favorite.
Wazelle, you know,
Yeah.
you got all the nicknames.
Right?
You say this is your favorite. What makes it your favorite?
Oh, it's just so beautiful to look at it, and there's so many little nuances. Like, for instance, the fawn. Did you notice that every time he appears, he's slightly younger and cleaner?
Really?
I did not
Yeah.
notice that.
Yeah, when you first see him, he's very mossy, like if he's been trapped there for eons. And then his next appearance, he's cleaned up more. And then by his final appearance, you know, he's like in his full form, I guess his full strength, full youth.
Wow.
And he gets more deceitful each time you see him too.
Right. Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow. That is cool. Damn.
So have you watched this a lot?
You know, actually, I kind of try to save it. I've maybe seen it like 5 times in my life.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, after this most recent view, I just fell in love with it even more. I might end up watching it like every year now.
I think my son would love it, but because of the subtitles, he'll have to be a little bit older just for him to keep up and read it. I think he'll absolutely love it because he loves scary movies, but he also loves like I said, with that fairy tale esque and with the girl being like a main character, and with it's a little vicious. He's still a little young, but so I'll wait for him to be a bit older as well because what that guy does with the beating of those guys and whatever, it's pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm.
But she's so fantastic in the lead.
Oh.
The actress who plays Ophelia. I mean, I don't want to say she steals the movie because there's so many great performances in it, but she steals the movie.
She wins you
Especially
over
for a
get-go.
child actor.
Yeah, she's terrific.
Not precocious at all. Like she wins you over. But everybody does in this. Like he's a dick, but it's how he does it too. Like he's such a when he's talking about the torture techniques he's going to use.
Yeah.
In progression to get the answers that he wants. Like you're just like, oh my god, that's just brutal.
So many great characters with Mercedes.
The woman, you get that kick-ass woman moment.
Yeah.
Too, like she slit. I just wish she got him deeper, right? Like when she cuts him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the only thing I always question. Is like, why didn't she kill him?
That's what I said. Yeah.
But I love the way she says, "You better not touch that girl," and then she leaves. She's her brother's in the Resistance. The scene with the other guy from the Resistance who stutters. Oh man, that scene is just brutal.
Yes, it is.
And probably one of the saddest scenes up until the climax of the film is hands down the doctor. The scene with the doctor is just it's magnificent. I love the exchange of dialogue. I love what he says, and I love his actions right after, the way he just walks.
Yeah, man.
I love that scene.
Yeah, it feels like a Western.
Yeah, it does.
Is he like get shot just in the back, or does he get shot through the face?
Not through the back.
Okay. Is this the
That's
movie
what I
that someone
took
gets
it.
shot through the face? There's one movie that we watched that someone gets shot through the face too. It was brutal. It must have been this movie.
Yeah,
someone gets shot
what's
in
his
the
name?
face.
The captain gets shot in the face at the end.
Okay, that's
How about the slice in the face? That was fucking that was great. That freaking slice, and then oh man.
He stitches it up like just I get
Yes.
Yeah, that shows how relentless he is.
But he's just looking.
He just stitches it up, starts drinking again.
It's such when he takes a drink and the blood soaks through the bandage.
Oof.
But the way she escapes and they hunt her down. I mean, it's such a great moment because she finally just like tears them apart with that knife, and it's great. You're cheering for it. Then she escapes, and they catch up to her, and you think, oh no, they're gonna kill her. And then the resistance shows up, and you're just like, fuck yeah, like this is fantastic.
Yeah, man. Oh, that was great. Damn.
And the blood, the innocent blood that spilt at the end. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Like,
absolutely brilliant.
Especially since they do things that traditionally, or let's not say traditionally, but that it becomes sort of a trope that we say that maybe we've shied away from or we don't like, where they show the end scene at the beginning. The Toro does that a little bit here because you see her at the beginning, right? And
with
then
the narration.
Yeah, and we're not like, and it reverses. The blood goes back up into her mouth or nose, and then the story begins. And we're taking, so we kind of wonder how we're going to get there. So they give you that hint. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem tired or played out like we've been talking about in some of these other movies.
No, it works here, and I love the idea of the 3 tasks and how they build, and ultimately that final task is sort of like a trick, not a trick, but it's a brain teaser. And she displayed throughout the whole film that she knew the right choices to make, and she ultimately does again in the end. Because even on that second task, when she's going to retrieve the dagger, the fairy looks through the keyhole and tells her this one, and she's like, no, it's this one.
Yep.
It's just like her intuition; she knows it's the other one. And
yeah, it was like almost like her destiny. That was
exactly
meant to be.
Exactly.
I love those fairies. The way they motion all the time with their hands, like come here. Yeah. It's cute. Yeah, something about the look of the fairies. I love it, and the way they move around makes me laugh. They kind of remind me of Tinkerbell a little bit. Like when they're bugging out a couple times. No, like moving their hands. Don't do it. Or they use their hands. Come here. I love that shit. But when that's to get eaten, I'm like, I tell you.
They were trying so hard. They're pushing their hands up against them, like trying like.
And he's
sad. Yes. Oh, dude, that was sad. Oh, I never thought I'd be so sad for freaking CGI fairies.
Yeah, and Ophelia is very she's not nonchalant, but she's very secretive about telling the fawn. She's like kind of messed up, and she just hands him the container and he opens it up, and only one comes out.
Oh no! Like, and the other one tells him,
it instantly rats him out. Rats her out.
Of course. Yeah. Oh.
Have you guys heard the theory that the fawn is the tall man, the pale man?
The fawn is the pale man.
They're
the same creature?
They're the same creature, because at the end,
guy?
Yeah, because at the end, all 3 fairies are there with Ophelia in the afterlife. So there, some people assume that means it was all just a trick.
Well, it's her parents. It's her parents at the end, and that is the same mother, Carmen. It just looks different color hair, and then it's him, the fawn, right? Is that what you're talking about?
And then the 3 fairies are there then.
Kingdom thing? Yeah. Oh yeah, there was 3 fairies. I got
one of them had no head, but
I have my own theory about this whole film, actually, but I'm not there yet. Do you guys think that the cooks knew? Because remember, she kept sneaking that knife when she was with the cooks.
Yeah.
Mercedes. Do you think they knew that she was doing that and what she was up to, or they just didn't pay any attention to it?
I wasn't sure, because it kind of looked like they kind of knew what was going on, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but it did kind of look, because she was she wasn't very secretive about grabbing the knife every time and rolling it up in her apron or whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about what was going on with that, if they were trying to make it look like they were in on it or not. Not that it's really important to the plot. It was just something, because she did it 3 times, and she was obviously hiding it, but it didn't look like she was trying to hide it to anybody else. You know what I mean? Obviously to the captain and those people, but when she did it, she wasn't all that discreet about it. So it's like, I wonder if they're aware of the resistance and everything that's happening here, and her role in it. Just something I thought about. What's that noise? Weird. It's like well, whatever. It's past. I like the colors, especially towards the end. You have like the bright blood and the freaking, I guess, like the pale blue colors, like the dreary look of it. But it's all done. It looks great. I mean, I'm saying pale, but it's done with the intent, the contrast between the the dull and the bright. And man, such good stuff. It's such a good look of film here. Here's my theory. Maybe this entire thing is in Ophelia's head. None of this happened.
And why are you saying that? Like, you just think it's
Well, I'll
her
tell you why.
imagination?
Yes, because all of it can be passed off. Every scene can be passed off as something else. She's an unreliable narrator. She's obsessed with fairies and books and storytelling and everything else. There's nothing you can look at it from a different perspective that she just imagined this entire thing as like escapism for what was happening in her
From her
life.
life. Yeah.
Yes. Why not?
Yeah.
She's a little kid. Even at the end when she's laying there dying or maybe not dying or whatever, she's almost like imagining seeing this afterlife with her parents and the fairies and the fawn and whatever. And she's there, she's still alive, and she's smiling looking at it, and then you see her succumb.
Yeah, she's smiling. She's smiling, looking up at her parents on the throne, but there's nothing there. She's still, in this horrid landscape, just bleeding out.
Yes, and when the captain sees her talking to the
there's nothing there. The fawn.
Yes, there's nothing there when she's talking to the fawn. Yeah. And I was thinking there was one instance where you could question it, but it was the root thing.
The root, with the mother.
But that's just a dried up root, right? So like when the guy comes in the room, she could have just overcome the sickness on her own because in medical science, things do happen unexplained. So she just could have gotten better and recovered her own way. But in her mind, it's because of this. But maybe it's just a dried up root in milk. And maybe when he catches her and takes it and the mother throws it in the fire, only she's seeing that freaking thing burn. Yeah. And then on top of it, she gets up and she starts yelling at her daughter. And that would cause her to miscarry because she's stressed out yelling at that moment. So just about every situation, and then I'll take it one step further, towards the end when the captain is chasing her and they go in that tunnel and she disappears into that thing, the bricks spread out and she goes. Mm-hmm. If you could be seeing that from the captain's point of view, who's doped up at the time, stumbling around and everything else. So that's just a theory I thought I'd throw out, and if anybody bought it.
I 150,000% agree with everything you just said.
Nice.
I agree with it. I didn't think of it at the time. It's not like I didn't think of it. I guess I took it more face value because I was so shocked that I was like, I don't think I saw the end of this movie when I was watching it. So but now that you're how you described it, I could totally buy into it as a theory.
Yeah, as a theory. I'm not saying it's a sure thing. I'm just saying it's another way to look at the film. What do you think, Man?
I always felt that was it.
Oh yeah, I've definitely heard that before, and yeah, I can buy it. However, as far as the general or the captain not being able to see the fawn, I think that has more to do with the fact that he's such a wicked character. Heaven wasn't meant for him anyways, so he can't see anything that's good or pure in the universe. Only Ophelia can, because that's her destiny. But as far as the other stuff goes, it's kind of hard to explain away. It could just be magic, or it could just be mental illness.
Yeah, I like that though.
I'm usually down with the mental illness thing. I just thought it was like Dave said, like just that childlike wonder and the ability for her to just escape during this horrid time. And it was beautiful. And I'd like to think that even though she obviously her ultimate fate, that she is in this ideal version of her own heaven. But
right.
But I do believe it was all a coping mechanism.
Wow. I think that it did happen. And I wish I could think that it was all in her head. It's a theory I had, but I think it works better if it isn't, even though the horror movie ending would be that it was all in her head. I think I enjoy the film more knowing or thinking that it was all that stuff really happened to her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the best way to view it, because, especially given how it ends. You want it to be real. And I do believe it is real. I like what the Ram Man says about, the captain not being able to see evil. So I love the fact that there are multiple interpretations of this, but ultimately, it's good versus evil, and good triumphs. And I think in the end, even though it's a tragic end, she's in a good place. Like you said, Dave, like we've all been saying, every fantasy scene in this film, nobody else is privy to it except Ophelia. Yeah. Not even Mercedes, not even, her mother. The root is just a root when the captain's holding it. You see that. And when it's in the fire, it's through the perspective of Ophelia's eyes, and that's why she sees it as a little growing entity that's burning. And of course, the mother getting better, the doctor even said she just needs rest, and she had been resting. So it makes sense she would recover, and it would make sense that she could get sick again. I mean, these are, this is back in the 40s, she
Yeah, absolutely. But I wanted her to have a good ending because.
But I do believe no matter what, I always feel like that is her heaven at the end, that she is with her family. I was a little confused because the mother is holding a baby on the throne.
Well, let me think about this. The baby is her baby.
But the baby's still alive.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But I guess in her ideal of heaven, like everyone's there with her. So even though the baby lives and the baby goes with Mercedes and the Resistance, and you just feel like, they're going to rise up, keep fighting, and eventually prevail, it's still like she's with the people she loves the most, and that's her parents and her brother, who she ultimately sacrifices her life for in her fantasy world.
True.
And that one scene where the captain looks at the watch, and it's reminiscent of that story that he heard that his father had smashed his watch to know the exact time of his death. And he looks at his watch, and then he looks up, and he says to them, "Just tell my son." And right there, she says, "No, he won't even know your name."
Yeah.
Boom.
Yep. I love it.
My God, there's just so many
amazing
moments, many hair-raising moments in this film.
I was just about to say that. You brought that up.
Me too. We were all waiting to say because it was that good.
This movie is full of those moments.
I won't even know your name. It's just a great line.
Yeah, it's so great and so fitting for him because killing him wasn't enough. You needed something like she's not just killing him. She's erasing him.
Right.
She crushed his spirit before she killed him.
Exactly. She just absolutely destroyed him.
Yeah, because that was his whole gimmick. All he wanted to do was have his name passed on. He didn't even care about dying. He was just like, even earlier on when there was a battle, he's like, this is the only honorable way to die. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid. I can't call him a coward in that respect, that he was afraid to go out there and fight. He was like, if I die out there, I die. It's an honorable way to die. I don't care. He wasn't like, he was urging people to go fight. And he had many bad traits about him, but he did not. All he cared about was having that his name carried on with that boy. And he was so convinced it was a son. Lucky for him at the time that it ended up having been a boy. I was watching the film, and I'm telling my wife, I go, I don't think back in those days they would know that. They didn't have sonograms. They didn't have shit
he was carrying around his little sonogram picture.
Right.
She's like, look at the size of that dong. That's my son.
But he was so sure he got lucky.
He even says when he tells the doctor and Ophelia hears that if it's save the baby, if it's a choice between the mother and the child. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just the worst human being ever in a film. Right up there.
He was bad.
There. Just absolutely atrocious.
Yep. Yeah, he was bad.
What about the toad? Did you guys like that?
Yeah, Jabba the Toad. Yes.
I love the scene with the toad.
It was great, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yes. And it freaking spits that stuff out. First, it belches it or whatever the hell it does, and then it spits out the thing and the keys. There reminds me of something you'd see in like a video game at the end of a round.
Yeah, it threw up all the bugs it had eaten.
At the end of a stage after you beat the guy or something, you think about, ding, I got a key. That was cool. That whole scene was cool. We're crawling around a stage.
Even the CGI cockroaches in that look cool.
They did.
They actually did, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have been able to complete that first task. I would have been like, nope. Look at the size of these bastards. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fawn.
Yeah, they were nasty, man. Jeez. Yeah, what a brave girl, huh?
Yeah.
But damn, those freaking grapes, I tell you. Oh, I was pissed off.
Oh, come on. Yeah. Come on. If they were little puny like green grapes, then I could understand you getting mad. But those things were like magical fantasy grapes. Those things were enormous. So I was like, I don't blame you for taking a few.
Oh,
plus his eyes were on the plate. She's a child. Of course, children are going to give in to some temptation.
Yeah, well, lucky she wasn't a few years older, because if that were the case, I would have called her Horophilia. Hey, named after the site. Come on, Horophilia. Come on, I gotta give us a shout.
Yeah.
What a film! Damn it, I've seen this 3 times. Just keeps getting better. I really enjoy the hell out of it.
Well, I'm interested to hear. Okay, Ram, you have to go first. Is there anything else you want to add to the review? Final thoughts, Jerry Springer-esque?
Right. No, just it's a beautiful film. You know, Del Toro's best, I think. I don't think he'll ever do anything better than this. And as far as rating, yeah, it's a 10 for me.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. A tenor. Damn.
Full head explosion.
Nice. Full head explosion.
Nice. We haven't been doing head ratings in a long time.
You know why? Because we haven't done anything new.
Yeah, we haven't done any new ones. Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
You know what? I just throw right out there. I'm right there with the Ram Man. To me, it's his masterpiece. And even making the comment that he'll never do anything like this again doesn't mean he's not going to put out fantastic films. It's just that this film is so perfect in just every way, and 10 out of 10 for me as well.
Wow,
Whew.
it's awesome.
Wow.
I've watched this again. I'm going to have to watch it again. And I think I will get an appreciation for it. The Shape of Water, I've rated a 10, and then this one I'm going to give a 9.5.
Nice.
And I feel like that will go to a 10.
Nice. Wow. This is weird. This is the first movie that I'm actually going to give this this rating to on this show. But
no, he's doing. I know what he's giving it. Oh no.
What do you think I'm giving it?
I think you're giving it a 9.75.
That's what I thought.
I'm giving it a 9.25.
9.25. Interesting.
Yep.
I thought we had a couple of 9.25s.
I don't think I've ever had a 9.25.
Okay.
I think this movie gets the distinction of
Still
that.
doesn't have one.
I don't know why it can't be a 9.5. There was just something. I don't know. Again, it's
The grapes is still bothering you. It all came down to produce.
Oh shit! Yes, produce brought us to this. Yes, but either way, it's in the Hall of Fame.
And it
boom.
deserves it. And you know what scares me is that if the Ram Man wasn't here right now, it would have missed the Hall of Fame by 0.25.
Oh, I would have been ashamed of myself.
And I would have been begging you to just go rewatch it right now and find an extra 0.25 to give this film.
See, the Ram Man saves the day. There you go.
Save the day again.
See, nice. There you
No,
go.
it would have been in. That would have been 28. Over 28.
Yeah, we were both over 9s.
Yeah.
You had a 10 and we each had 9s. At least.
I had 9.5.
And I had
you're right.
9.25. Oh.
Oh, well, Ram Man did nothing then.
He solidified it for good. But yeah, no, it would have. But it's
He gave it the right rating.
I feel better now with my 9.25. I wouldn't have not left it out. Cool. All right. Well, let's get on with it. One more to go, and then we get out of here. So.
Crimson Peak. Written and directed by Guillermo del Toro. Also written by Matthew Robbins. In the aftermath of a family tragedy, an inspiring author is torn between love for her childhood friend and the temptation of a mysterious outsider. Trying to escape the ghosts of her past, she is swept away to a house that breathes, bleeds, and remembers. And this is from 2015. 2015?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was our first what do you call it? Because it was Christian's #1 our first year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And
That's right. I still remember that.
Goosebumps was his #2, right?
Yep.
And what was Goosebumps was not my #2, you fucking
It was
prick.
some kid movie.
Hey, Goosebumps is a great film.
Hey, it was.
No,
It
I know.
was
I
the
still
first one. Anyway.
haven't seen the Goosebumps, but I love the show, so I got to watch those too.
I'm curious. It was Brandon's #1 film. Pardon me. It was not Grimsby. It was Christian's #1 film that year. Did you give it a 10 out of 10 that year?
No. I believe I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what he gave it.
I'm
Yeah.
curious to see where it goes this time around, because let me ask you this. Have you watched it since you gave it your #1 film of that year?
I've watched it 2 times. Well, one more
okay.
time. One time after that, and then one time. Sorry for tonight. Excuse me.
Okay. No, it's okay. Right on. Okay, just making sure. I was hoping that you hadn't watched it until now. And
I'm trying to think if I've watched it a
Revisit.
4th time, because I watched it.
Oh,
I think I watched
you
it.
love it.
Yeah, it's. I think I did watch it with my wife too. So I think it's been this 4 times in total.
Nice. This is only my second time.
Yeah, me too. And I
Same here.
I want to ask you, Raymond, why? I totally get if you're doing a Del Toro show, why somebody would pick Hellboy and Pan's Labyrinth. Was there a reason for Crimson Peak in particular versus any of his other stuff?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting because I heard that this is actually Del Toro's favorite film that he's done.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
I did not know that.
I've heard him quoted as saying that. I mean, I don't know if that's changed since Shape of Water, but when that came out, I was kind of thrown back, like, what? Like, because I obviously Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy, those are all great films too.
Yeah.
And to see this one so held in high regard, I'm like, oh, we got to talk about that for sure.
No, that's cool. I'm looking forward to talking about this because I'll be honest, the first time I saw it, I wasn't super high on it. Everything about it screams Del Toro. It's beautiful. The setting, the performances are terrific. But I just, maybe because this was a much bigger budget films, it's got really well-known names in it who have, gone on to become stars and superstars. And I just didn't connect with the characters as much in this one. I don't know why. It's just for some reason.
I'm surprised at that. I don't have any issue with the characters. I think from a presentation standpoint, it's another gorgeous film. Like I said, broken record all night. It's beautiful throughout. But when they get to that house, the cinematography, it's just gorgeous. What they get from that, and the monsters coming from the shadows, and
I won't deny any of that. I just don't know why, and I have nothing against Edith's character, Mia, however you say her last name, Mia W. Her performance is terrific. I guess I just wasn't like, however they ended the story with her character, I wasn't going to be as emotionally invested as I was with Ophelia.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really don't connect to any character in here either, but it's just something I enjoy for the ride, like.
Yeah, I definitely give it that.
This is less metaphor. I think I can agree with that. I actually don't think you're supposed to connect. I think like the sister, there is that disconnect. I think that's part of it, but I can understand it. If from the characters in Pan's Labyrinth, these ones are not quite as rich.
That's fine.
Visually and story-wise, I'm all on board, and it sort of hovers between the movies for me. I don't think it's as perfect as A Shape of Water. I don't think it will be as good as Pan's Labyrinth. I think it's sort of remained where I was from a rating standpoint initially, spoiler, but I do find it kind of in the fun ride category that Hellboy is.
Okay. Yeah, I can, if I'm approaching it from that way, I could definitely appreciate it more, because that's the only way you could really look at a film like Hellboy. Like, yeah, you like the characters, and of course you want to see good for the good characters and a happy ending, but their characters aren't even like Pan's Labyrinth. Pan's Labyrinth is just an emotional roller coaster, whereas Hellboy is, like you said, a fun superhero type ride.
And I think this is a fun ghost movie. So they'll take the fun aspect of Ghost Boy, the striking visuals that I think are even more impressive than what we've seen in Ghost Boy, and then add scares.
Hellboy. He said it twice too.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up the first time, and I'm waiting for it to stop talking. He did it again. Ghost Boy.
It's the new Exploding Heads movie, Ghost Boy.
And now you've got a ghost story is where I was going with it. So you've got these, it's everything we've loved, but now we've got horrific visuals and probably the most horror movie of his movies since maybe Mimic and Cronus, arguably.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. You know what I said earlier when I finished watching these movies with my wife, I said, and I compared them to Shape of Water. Again, I've only seen it once, so this could all be taken back after I watch that again. But what I said was that Pan's Labyrinth is a better story than Shape of Water, and Crimson Peak is a better looking movie than Shape of Water. To me, this is his best looking movie. I was marveling at it. Granted, again, I watched this with my HD setup on my TV and my sound and the whole nine, and I only watched Shape of Water on my computer, when it first came out. So it's an unfair comparison to make, but this particular time watching this film, it being my second time, I was marveling at how beautiful it looked and how well it was shot.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think it's like they're on like even plateau now. I think they're both gorgeous.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, it's him. It's just the way he makes films is just stunning. But I gotta ask, and this goes for any one of you three can answer this: which film had the better Clay character, Hellboy or Crimson Peak?
Clay character.
Is his name
The
Clay?
one made out of
Yeah,
clay, or the one called Clay?
You're you asking seriously, or did you just want to crack the joke?
I just wanted to crack the
Okay.
joke. It
So-
didn't hit. It didn't land.
Yeah, no, it's
Unfortunately.
fine. Most of yours
It
don't.
landed on me.
No, they do. We had the killer one earlier. That was like,
Grimsby.
yeah. Anyway, that's when he nicknamed himself Grimsby. It's you'll hear.
You're
that.
not supposed to nickname yourself.
Yeah, it's fine. You did, and it's sticking. I will say the Sons of Anarchy guy. Part of me feels like he was miscast. He's good in certain scenes, and I'm like, oh. Just watching it this time, I felt like he was a little miscast. Excuse me.
You felt I don't even know if I could say that more so than they'd say underutilized or underdeveloped.
Maybe that's it. Maybe
Because
that's exactly why.
You know, he's evident. He's apparently known Edith his whole life, and he comes from this family that's very like highfalutin. Even though she comes from a well-known family, but she's looked at in sort of like looked down on in society almost by the mother. But he still loves her. But you know, it doesn't feel as real as it is because they didn't really develop or give any exposition or backstory or
Yeah.
That's
I
just
like
my-
seeing him.
yeah.
I like seeing Jax because I'm such a fan of Sons of Anarchy, and it's good to see him. And I really liked his character. I guess I don't know. I thought about Sons a couple times. Sure, that's the only thing I ever seen him in. But I mean, he was the good heart of the film. He was the guy that was the well.
So was the father, because the father just a father protecting his daughter. He had a father's intuition from the very get-go. He even says there's just something about him I just don't like before he even found anything out.
That's true.
Yeah,
but she kind of painted her father in a certain light before we even saw him, when she was talking about somebody who I forgot what she said. She made some type of comment about what he was and how he pays everybody else to do things for him or something. She made some type of comment that I thought was kind of negative. So I was expecting him to be a little arrogant and a little bit too highfalutin. And then in the beginning, when you saw the way that the other socialites treated her, that she was kind of like
the outsider. Almost.
Yes, and that includes her father because they're her people. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that's the impression I initially got before we even met her father. The way she said something about him, where I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, well, he's
overbearing type.
definitely more into the social scenes. She even references after he dies that don't touch him. He was always concerned with his looks. He didn't want to look his age and stuff. And again, talking about the gore that you guys bring up, that Christian mentioned, him not shying away from it. Whew. That head bashing scene.
That was vicious.
It's vicious, and then he lands and his head's like missing. Like it's
his head is caved in and gone. And we didn't talk about it, but in Crimson Peak, the most not in Crimson Peak, I'm sorry, in Pan's Labyrinth, the most cringeworthy scene was in Ghost Boy, but was the leg amputation scene. Just that initial cut that the doctor makes. Oh my God.
And then it cuts away. Yep.
And then it cuts away, but that sound and that split
you
image.
think you see stuff. I don't actually think you see anything. It's the way it was done.
Yeah, but I cringed after. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and this one didn't shy away either.
What the hell are you doing, Kat?
No, not at all. Not at all. I will say these ghosts are incredible. These are the coolest looking CG ghosts you will ever see.
They really are.
I'm so glad to say that. You hear that? Excuse me. I had to say it. Because when I was watching it again this time, I'm like, I wonder what Dave's going to say about the CG in this. And I know you mentioned the knife part earlier when we were talking about every movie all at once, but the ghosts specifically, because I think they're super cool in this. Super cool.
Amazing. Everything about them, the way they look, the way they sound, the way they move. That is how you use freaking, CGI effects. That's so good. And red ghost and black ghost and just everything the way they're presented until the end when we see the regular type ghost, when it's what's his name. You know what I mean? That's okay. I guess he's not going to be a freaking somebody that's, that has a role. These people are, the other one was warning, and the other ones were trying to get help, and make their presence known. Yeah. But back to that ghost, the original ghost of her mother. Did the events? Yeah, I guess it would make sense. Okay. I was trying to figure out by the time we got to the end of the movie, if she's getting the warning of Crimson Peak from her mother, did the events of Crimson Peak happen before that? But they must have, because
they had been happening for a long time.
Well, I'm just talking about the brother and sister with what happened with their mother, because that's when it all really kind of, took off for her to have any concern. And then after that, with the other wives. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I get the whole premonition of a ghost and everything else, but if that stuff hadn't happened, if the mother, wasn't found with the knife in her head, then it wouldn't have made sense that she was warned for that if those events hadn't taken place yet. But I'm kind of guessing they must have, right? Because how old could this girl have been? And I don't know. I guess it's not important. It just crossed my mind. I was like, well, wait a minute. Let me look at the timeline here. Did those events even happen when she's giving her the warning? Otherwise, it's a plot hole. But it's so close it doesn't even really matter, the timeline.
Well, I don't think it's been a huge passage of time. I think we're talking, like a 10 to 15 year max.
That's what I.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, the dad, we're going back to the story at the beginning. Sorry for jumping back, but with the father calling out the guy, he pretty much calls himself out in his apology. He sneaks that note to her that says, "Hey, I had to do this sort of for your father." I don't think that was an act. I think it was he actually did like her and whatever. And obviously we realize later it's the sister that's all fucked up. But they do kind of do that where it's his silhouette for sure. When you see the guy that smashes the dad's head in.
Oh, not at all. I knew.
I think it's intentionally vague. It's intentionally vague. I think.
I knew it the whole time.
Oh well, I thought they made it look like it was his silhouette.
No, it was too short in the way the hair looked.
I agree with both of you, and here's why. Because I think they intentionally made it sort of like, just the height you almost couldn't tell, but just a very slim, could be man or woman. And they had just introduced Mr. Holly's character, the one who was investigating the brother and sister for the father. So I think they intentionally make it vague, but I think they intentionally make it vague by showing it being like almost like Loki's, Thomas Sharp's
Loki.
silhouette.
Yeah, that is him.
Almost like it's Thomas Sharp. Like, you're immediately supposed to think that, and that's why the whole curveball with the realization of everything that's going on, even though he certainly is guilty, he's not, the pure personification of evil here, and that's why he's ultimately, in the end, when you see him as a ghost, he's sort of redeemed, and he just disappears and is able to move on. I don't know what his afterlife holds for him, but he's certainly free. Versus what's her name? What's the sister's name?
Lucille
versus Lucille's character.
Find time to leave me.
Lucille. I'll tell you what, it was a little straightforward as my only knock. I guessed a lot of it. I had a feeling where it was going. I didn't know exactly why, and ultimately at the end of the movie, I still don't know why. I remember looking at my wife halfway through again and saying, she's the one pulling the strings here. She's the one in charge. She has something over him. I don't know what it is. And we're really never really explained what she has over him and why he's part of this if he doesn't want to be. But that's all well and good. The only twist to me, honestly, was the baby, the reveal of the baby. That was the only twist to me. Everything else, when I saw the person in the tub, I knew who it was going to be. I didn't know, okay, let me take that back. I didn't know about the succession of wives. I'll take that back.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I guess the stuff that was really twisty, that was supposed to be really swerve or reveal, I was on board. So I guess that, and I'm not knocking this film at all. I'm well into it.
It does play out pretty straightforward when you get everything, but it's twisted, and that's, I think, what saves it, is that it's twisted, and it's twisted not for really a particular reason other than that's just their relationship. And like, he's almost finally like reached a point where it's like he feels guilt for everything, and he sort of has this feeling like I never really wanted all this, and I've been doing it for you because I love you, and but he goes and falls in love with Edith.
Yeah, he's definitely the more human of the two siblings. He actually feels remorse for what he's done. He feels love. And you see that Lucille is just straight, she's just a straight psycho throughout this whole film.
Yeah.
No redeeming qualities whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like cock blocks in scene with the T.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
Yes.
But another movie where, again, I think he loves this fairy tale aspect. I think maybe this is what he was talking about before. And again, if that article is written before The Shape of Water, visually, again, he one-ups himself each time. And this whole ending with the white, the snow, and everything else, it's just great. And it just adds, like, everybody's dressed in, like, fairy tale garb, I'll just say. I love using the term garb. We're talking about the house is great.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, it's more straightforward. I don't fault it for that necessarily. Maybe there's not as many layers to peel back. There's some story you can read into, but it's definitely more simplistic.
Yeah, it's a good mystery still. I just had a good idea where it was going to go. And that's not necessarily a knock, I guess, but I just wish I would have had a little more swerving going on.
Well, I actually appreciate the fact that, when it is revealed in the end, that, I guess we have been kind of spoiling these, that they are married, Thomas and Lucille, and she questions, oh, so you're not brother and sister, but they still are. And it's just a sick, incestuous love affair.
I don't think they're married. I just think that they do their thing. I don't think there's any marriage of paper or anything like that. She catches them going at it. And then that's when that happens. And she goes, so I knew it. You guys are married or something. And you're not brother and sister. And she goes, well, they are wrong or something.
They definitely are married because that's the piece of paper that the father found is his marriage certificate to Lucille.
It said Lucille. I thought it said the other people because he had 3 wives, so I didn't know which one it was.
It says he's married right now, which means
why would he bother to marry his sister if he's going to continue to do this charade where he's going to get another wife and then try to take her money? That wouldn't make any sense at all. If so, you know what I mean? I didn't think they were married, but if that is part of the plot to me, that's almost like a slight. Why risk doing that if it's gonna? There's no reason to do it. They live together, they make love, whatever. They're together. What reason is there for them to
love?
Make love while that boy drowned.
Now you're making me second guess it too because I thought
I don't think it said that at all because then they would have made a bigger deal of it. It's almost married to his sister.
No, but that's the thing. I think the minute the father saw that, and the minute Edith finds that out, they immediately think, okay, they're not brother and sister. They're playing that charade up. The real twist is that they actually are brother and sister, even though they're married.
I think that there's brother and sister, and they're doing their thing, but I don't think they ever married. I think that marriage certificate was
for them.
You think they could legally do that? These two people are going to go into a freaking thing and get a certificate of a brother and sister getting married? I don't think there's nothing for them to benefit by doing it, is what I'm saying. If your scam is to marry other people for their money, why would you for no reason marry your sister? Well, then it's just going to hurt your freaking scam.
What was written on that paper then?
I don't remember. I mean, it could have been anybody that he was married to. E.S., the last person, the one that lost the baby, or supposedly
But did. E.S. was the mother.
I feel like I should know this for how many times I've watched it, but I feel like it was Lucille's name, but I've got to now...
Yeah, I feel like it was Lucille's name. And E.S. was Enola, which was the mother.
Now there you got me. I thought Enola was the third girl, the one that had the baby, or that thought she had the baby that tried to save it, the last one she was married to.
The baby was Lucille's.
I understand that part, but she tried to save the baby. She tried to raise it as her own baby. Yeah. What I'm saying is, and she was no. The one in the tub, the one in that freaking thing in the clay, that was E.S. The mother, dead in the bathtub with the thing in her head, was the mother. There was 2 ghosts in the house. There was the one ghost that was the ghost of the mother, and the other ghost was the last wife, the one that he had killed.
Oh wait, you're right.
In the tub.
Enola Scotti. You're right.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
That's what I'm saying.
That wasn't the mother.
That's who I think is on the marriage certificate. The last person he married to, and he never divorced her because she's dead. You know what I mean? Or maybe because they said that he had another marriage too. They said at the end she listed all 3 people off. She goes, this person, and E.S. this person. Those are the 3 people you've been married to. She listed them all off. So it could have been any of them people of a marriage certificate. I'm guessing it's the last one, which was E.S. What do I know?
Remember now.
We have to go back and look at it, but that's what I took it as. And the reveal was like that they were brother and sister. Because
Brandon's watching it right now.
That's what's such a shock, because she sees them going at it and she goes, I knew it. You guys aren't brother and sister. You know what I mean? And then, in other words, this is, you're pulling the wool over my eyes and you two are going at it. You're just using me for my money. And she goes like, oh, no, that's where you're wrong. We are. And that's the shock. We are brother and sister and we're going at it. And then she was attempted to kill her. That's what I'm saying. It had nothing to do with marriage. It just had to do that they had an incestual affair. And that was it to me. That's how I took it anyway.
Yeah, you know what?
Either way.
Now that I'm reading it, it's saying that what the father discovered was Thomas's multiple marriages.
Right. That he is.
But that almost makes me question, why wouldn't he investigate it even more? Here's a guy's been married multiple times. What happened? Where are all these women?
That's all he needs to know. What does he care? What is that business of the father? All he knows is, I don't want to do business with this guy. He's a shyster. He's just trying to get money, and he's trying to freaking romanticize my daughter, and he has these multiple wives. That's enough for me to say, get the hell out of here.
And Lucille's time in a mental institution. That's right. That was another big reveal.
There you go. How about Lucille? Man, I tell you what, when she let her hair down, everything, whew, man, that's another thing. How is this beautiful woman single and always hanging out with her brother? They made it too obvious. Like, this girl is stunning, and she's there always constantly on her brother's arm. Everywhere they go, they're together. They live in the house together, the two of them. They travel together like business partners, and she's single all this time. As I'm watching this film, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, you know what? Again, because I forgot it from the first time I saw it. You know what I mean? So I'm watching, I'm like, okay, what's it going to be? And I'm like, man, these two, I don't know. The way they talk, the way they carry on, they seem awfully close. They seem a little closer than brother and sister. So either they're brother and sister and it's ancestral, or it's a
kiss on the lips the second you see
they
her.
gave off vibes to me. What's that?
No, I said they kissed on the lips, like when he greeted her. Like it was like pretty much right on the lips. Not like a long kiss, but when she came to greet him, they pretty much. That's not really how you greet your sister.
Right.
I don't have a sister.
Neither
so
do
I don't know.
I don't have a sister or a brother.
Well, that's what you do. Well, if you had a brother, you can kiss him. What can I tell you? Either way, and then she got so mad when they spent the night somewhere else together in that cabin. Remember when they were snowed in? The way she lost her temper. All that stuff was a giveaway. Why would she be that mad unless she was a scorned lover? Unless she was jealous of them spending time together? Well, he is my husband. You know what I mean? So none of that to me was a twist. I was expecting it to happen. But again, I'm not trying to focus on that aspect of the film and say, that's what's wrong with the movie. I enjoy the hell out of this movie.
Yeah, but even the revelation that even though you see it coming, that these two are lovers, the fact that they are brother and sister, and that's not a scam part, is even more sickening and disturbing and dark.
Yes, I agree. It is.
That this whole scheme is born out of an incestuous love that blossomed out of murder, and then these schemes that followed to marry and murder the wives to inherit this money to keep their sick, twisted lifestyle going.
She's almost as bad a character as the captain is in freaking Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, definitely.
You know?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. Clearly,
but I wish
she's right there because she's the one who's done all the killings, because she even says to Thomas at the end, you know, are you going to do it this time? Meaning when she hands him the knife to kill Alan, you get the impression, you understand instantly that he has never actually physically killed anyone.
Right. And again, you can see that throughout the film, that he does love her. And they even question it because he confesses his love. And then later on, even after he does what the father wants him to do, he still professes his love. And then later on, his sister asks him, "Why are you choosing her?" You know what I mean? We're going to get her money. Why are you choosing her? And he doesn't answer. So the signs are there the whole time that he does genuinely love her. Remember how excited he gets when the machine starts working, and then he goes, "Oh, I can't wait to tell Edith." First of all, he shouldn't say that in front of his sister, knowing how crazy she is and how jealous she's going to be, but he does. And that's what I'm saying. There was nothing. I don't know. There was a couple of decisions made in the plot that I don't know. Again, I'm nitpicking, I guess.
And it does happen occasionally with like the ghost story type things to kind of make
throw us off.
Yeah, but whether right or wrong.
But it didn't. But it didn't throw me off. It led me more to believe, well, this is going to lead to this, and it did.
See, I don't know. I feel like Thomas's character. I feel like he has enough of a sinister look to him. Even though his dialogue might suggest otherwise, I still feel like I can't trust him up until the very last moment. But I completely see what you're saying, and obviously I was I'm looking at Wikipedia and reading all this and everything you said, and it's all starting to make more sense. And I mean I don't know what it's doing to my rating of the movie, but I'm just trying to take this all in. It's
Well, let me say this. There's something else I really thought was going to happen. This is not a complaint, just an observation.
Mm-hmm.
She's writing her book, and she says a few times in the first act of this film, the ghost is a metaphor. It's all about, it's really the past. And I'm going to throw in a love story because it's kind of like going to be shoehorned in to make sales, because that's what people like. So I thought by the end of the film that art was going to imitate her art, that the ghost was going to be a metaphor, and that the love story was going to be shoehorned in. I thought that would have been a clever way to tie everything in at the end.
That's
Didn't
cool. I like that. That would have been really cool, actually.
Ultimately, I'm glad the ghosts were real because they were badass ghosts and they made sense and everything. But for the longest time, I'm thinking, how is this going to be the past? Because I was like almost convinced. I'm like, okay, she's saying the plot. She's giving the plot away. She's saying the ghost is a metaphor. It's all about her past. And, the love story is just something, it's an afterthought. And I was like, okay, maybe that's where we're going to go. Just one observation. I have that. And what's with the butterflies? That's my last observation. What's with all the butterflies? Why are they there? I'm thinking maybe Ram Man has answers to all of this. I don't know.
And if I remember correctly, the butterflies are supposed to show that something beautiful can be dangerous. Because usually when we think of beauty, we think of something weak or timid. And we also see a lot of moths in the film as well. And those are supposed to be, since they're ugly, they're considered more vicious. And that's supposed to symbolize with their development as characters. We see like Lucille, she can be seen as like a butterfly, beautiful but deadly. While her brother is more, you'd think that he's a murderer, but it turns out he's just more passive.
Yeah.
But what is she holding over him that's such a big deal that he would, if he's not into this, why is he doing it? You would think that she had a stranglehold on him for like a reason, like she's hiding some secret that she can get him in trouble, or she has some supernatural powers.
At one point had a strong love. They had a love at one point, and were in this together. Even though though he is timid and wasn't doing the killings, he was certainly a part of tricking these women into marrying him, and then they were bumping them off one by one. So he's not innocent by any means. He's just the more passive one who
comparatively
eventually redeems himself in the end. In terms of the butterflies, I can't even remember the whole conversation they had sitting on that lawn. But
I know what she said. She said, "Where I come from, there are no butterflies. There's only moths."
Oh, okay. But
then at the end, there's a bunch of butterflies all over the place. Unless these aren't butterflies, they were moths. But even if they were there, it's middle of winter. Why would we have butterflies?
I just remember thinking of the look on her face and sort of like the pitch in her voice when she talks about the other bugs that are on the ground, and Edith says, "What do they eat?" And she says butterflies, almost with like a glee in her voice. And then you see them destroying the butterfly, and you almost get a sense that the picturesque beauty of Lucille is somehow corrupt in some way. And how is this going to play out?
I could see that.
No, my mind is like, I'm thinking about this movie crazy now. You got me wanting to watch this again now.
I know, right? There's a lot to unpack.
The simplistic visual connections of like even just her at the last scene when it pans back into the house or tracks back into the house to camera, and she's there playing the piano as a black ghost at the end as well, and that she's doomed there to stay there for eternity. That's the shit that I like.
I love that. That's
poetic justice.
That's exactly poetic. It is, and the contrast of the ghosts of the obviously the women who were married to Thomas and the mother who have unfinished business or died horribly, and of course they're more menacing looking and scary looking, and you don't know if they're good or evil. Versus the contrast of like Thomas's ghost, where he's already at peace and redeemed, and he's a white ghost who just sort of disappears. So it's almost like the more they have unfinished business, and they're sort of stuck in this house in limbo, they become these like hideous creatures.
Well, I'm glad you guys both, because I remember when I said, when I first said this as my number one of the year, and it wasn't even on either of your lists, I think you were really shocked. It sounds like you have a newfound appreciation.
I didn't see it at the time. See, that's what I said. I didn't see it because it came to the theater in December, and I didn't think it was going to be horror enough for me to even be into, so I didn't see it. And then I saw it a few months later, and then I remember coming back to you on the show and saying, I will tell you this, if I was to watch this before the year ended, it would have made my top 10.
Yeah, I didn't see it before the year end either, but I think it would have still just missed out on my top 10.
And Krampus also came out that year, or was that the one that came out in 2016?
Yes.
And that was the one I missed and said that would have definitely been on my top 10.
Right.
No question.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's our top 10 show of 2010.
Was this on your top 10, Ram?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
2015 in general was just a great year for horror.
Boy,
It really was. 2015 was the year I remember my top 10 was like, my number 4 was a 10 out of 10. My number 2 was a 9. It was all over the place. Looking back on it, it was crazy, but it was a really strong year. That was like Final Girls, Creep, Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, Spring.
Straight Outta Compton.
Straight Outta Compton for sure.
That was great. Yeah. Now I just want to know whose name was on that damn marriage license.
I don't think they ever show it to us.
According to this, it's a reveal of Thomas's multiple marriages and Lucille's time in a mental institution, according to what I'm reading here. But I don't know why. I don't know if I heard something wrong or in my brain I just made the assumption that it was a marriage certificate showing that the brother and sister was married. But of course you're right. It wouldn't make sense for them to get married. But she's that crazy that I guess I didn't question it. Like, she's that crazy. She'd want to marry her brother. She wants it to be official.
She's great, man.
Jessica Chastain's terrific. This is a cast of big names, and I'm not going to say that hurts it because the performances are great. Maybe it's the time setting that everybody is so high society that doesn't strip back enough to like the raw emotions enough.
Hey,
even with Edith, it's like even when she's breaking down, she still seems almost like very prim and proper. Even if she's being poisoned and tormented, it's like let some emotion out, you know? Just a tiny bit. Just what was missing, you know, like that you get from like characters in some of the other films, particularly Pan's Labyrinth.
I'll tell you what made me wince.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, you go. Go.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
What made me wince was that freaking scene at the end with the knife when she grabs it.
Always.
Oh.
They always have
Every time.
The movie Parents. Anytime someone gets a knife, grabs it with the hands.
Psycho 2.
Pulls. Psycho 2, Parents, this. There's another one that it's not coming to my mind right now, but yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that scene kills me.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Oh. Ooh, yes.
I was
it
just going to mention,
but I appreciate it. You know.
Sorry.
What were we going to mention?
That it takes place the American stuff takes place in Buffalo.
Oh
yes,
yeah, that's right.
It's one of my first notes. It's in Buffalo. Yeah.
I was actually looking for you when it said that.
Yeah.
Like, where is he?
Where's Dave? Is Dave there?
Dave.
That looks better now than it does back then than it does now.
That's for damn sure, buddy. Yes.
What the fuck happened? High society in Buffalo? I'm scared.
I know, right?
I'm teasing, but no, it was really cool. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, that's awesome. Because nothing takes place in Buffalo.
So that's
What
why
about-
Edith had those season tickets to the Bills. I thought I saw those sitting on her.
It was actually the Butterflies back then, the Buffalo Butterflies. That was the lacrosse team, actually, back then. But here's something else. I have one more question about the movie. This girl was warned about Crimson Peak, okay, a couple times. Then we get the revelation when he calls it Crimson Peak. Why? And then after, when she sees another ghost, why wouldn't she tell him, hey, Crimson Peak, I've been warned about this thing for years. She doesn't say a fucking word about it. Why wouldn't you? If that was you, wouldn't you say, hey, I got to get out of here. A ghost is warning me.
She goes, what did you say? I thought she said when she hears the name Crimson Peak, she's like, what? Like,
Yes.
Yeah, and he repeats it.
And she kept it, yes, but you're missing my point.
Oh,
and she kept it
Okay.
to herself. Why wouldn't you then tell your husband, maybe not that minute, but maybe when more shit starts hitting the fan and she says, I want to get out of this house, why wouldn't you take that opportunity to say, hey, The ghost of my dead mother has been coming at me more than once in my life saying, stay the fuck away from Crimson Peak. And here I am. We got to get out.
And that's my issue with the film, and particularly with Edith's character, is there's no sense of urgency until the very, very end. And even then, like I said, she just seems to be like, about it.
She seems to just let everything play out.
Exactly. Versus being almost like, she should have been more of a tormented soul, just from being haunted by her mother as a child. Like,
she is a tormented soul. Maybe this.
But it plays out more like she doesn't come across as a tormented soul.
She has to be like twitching.
She just, I don't know. There needs to be a greater sense of dread with her character, or a greater sense of sadness and horror. And it's very even keel with her. And I think it's more. I think that's more of the direction, maybe, with some of these characters, and the setting, with it being, a high society, your Our Lady, Lord Edith, and Baronet, and all this, with all these titles. I think sometimes those types of settings take away from stripping down the character to his or her raw emotion.
Well, this wasn't very. It was critically well received, actually very well received. It was not well received from a box office standpoint.
Yeah,
so maybe a lot of audiences thought the same thing.
But I don't dislike it by any means. I'm just saying, like,
that's your issue.
That's what separates this from being like, whoa, another masterpiece by Del Toro.
So maybe if you had a connection with her a bit more, that would have elevated it to that.
Like, don't get me wrong, I was rooting for Edith. I recognized her as a good, pure character, but like, I wanted to see more of the struggle, where it felt like it was just sort of almost very non-struggling. It was like very minimal struggle, it seemed, until like the third act and like the final 20 minutes, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna end it like this real quick, and you're fine.
I don't think they ended it very quick. That whole scene was really well played out, I thought, the end.
Slasher territory.
Yeah.
Sorry.
From the moment she enters the elevator shaft, that's when it really starts to pick up with her, and that's when she gets the sense of urgency, and then of course with Alan and the whole showdown in the snow. But it just kind of felt like everything leading up to that point could have been more of a sense of dread and melancholy.
It sounds like we're coming down on it a bit, but I'm really not.
No, I'm not. I'm actually.
To the ratings, and
I think my ratings actually gone up from the first time I saw it, because I like I said, I was not super high on this. I think my ratings actually coming up on it.
No, that's what we do. I think we talk about it, and sometimes it does sound like we're in a negative territory, but not. I feel more like I should be able to answer these questions based on the fact that I just watched it for the fourth time. But,
right.
But oh well, I did.
We know that there's shysters. We know that there's a scam at hand here. That's all I need to know as the viewer. So I don't need the exact particulars on what that note said. I'm good enough knowing what I know about the characters, and whatever it is, it's no good. And if I'm the father and that's my daughter, I'm gonna say the same thing. So it could be any of those things.
Yeah.
So that's not something I need to focus on. I have more questions about why didn't she bring it up. That she saw the ghost, and the other question I had about, what I mean? But whatever.
And that might be plot convenience as well. But
what about Milan?
No, it's valid.
What about the letter from Milan? Who sent it, and what did it say? It was in another language, so we're never privy to that. It comes from a Francesca somebody, by the way, and I see that at the top of the page. And did it seem like they kind of blew that off? Like, what did it say? Was it those recordings that she got from the other person that got killed, the ES person?
Oh, the recordings she found in the wall, the wax recordings.
Yes, but did the letter tell her about the recordings? Because she opened the letter.
Yeah, who sent that?
That's what I'm saying. And how does she know how to read frickin' Italian? Because it was in Italian.
What was the name on the letter you said?
Francesca something. Yes.
Francesca Z?
Yeah, from Buffalo.
From Buffalo, and it probably said, "Why did Angela have a girl's voice at the end of Sleepaway Camp?"
Do you know that this movie was filmed right around the corner from my house and in Toronto? It was filmed in Hamilton, Dundurn Castle in Hamilton, and then it was filmed in like Toronto and Kingston.
Can't believe you told me that. Now I got to take a point off.
I had no clue either. I love hearing that stuff, and then it drives me nuts too. I actually
That's
have it
cool.
rated as a 10 out of 10 on IMDb. Funny enough.
I don't know. Ram Man, what do you say? What do you think about all these questions I posed and about the film in general? Because you picked this movie. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a lot more quiet on this review because you kind of just mind fucked me with all those points you're making.
Yeah,
Sorry.
my brain hurts right now. I can't think straight.
Yeah, I'm legit went down about half a point because I'm like, wait a
I
minute,
did too, I think. Yeah.
I'm not even sure I
No.
watched this movie.
Well, that's right. He made me question me. That's
What
the
did I
best
watch? What was I watching last night?
Yeah.
Right. I'm
Crimson
gonna have
Tide,
to go back
maybe.
and watch this with
I was
the
watching
commentary.
Crimson Tide.
part. That's hilarious.
Died. Oh man.
Gene Hackman was in Crimson Peak, right? Yeah.
So what do you think though? Did Lucille kill the dog?
No, she just said, "Come here, you little bitch," and just kind of. I don't think she killed it.
Gordon itself?
Threw it in the clay.
Maybe so.
I didn't even think about that. I hope she didn't kill that dog. That dog was badass surviving on its own for so long out there.
Yeah, and then it tried to leave. The best part is at the end of the movie, when they were walking out, when Edith was walking out with Dr. Jax, and they were leaving, the dog followed them.
Dr. Jax.
Whatever, Dr. McMichael, whatever the hell his name was, you know. It's funny because she wasn't their dog at all. She was their dog. But when they were walking out of the house, the freaking dog was coming with them. She's like, "Yeah,
Oh, that's right. You said the dog was with them at the end, so the dog didn't die.
What? I don't remember that.
Or are you making that up?
No, maybe it was an earlier scene when they first tried to escape or something. But I know for a fact because my wife remarked about it. She said, "Look, the dog's going with them." So I know it did happen. I remember.
People are listening right now. Did these fuckers watch the film? 'Cause I am so confused. This feels like the Devil's Candy review for me, or like any of the Phantasm reviews. My brain hurts right now.
Oh, those Phantasm reviews are classic. You guys sounded so mindfucked by the end of it.
That almost destroyed me. I almost lost my sanity.
Awesome.
I love IMDb for this movie. Plot keywords: ghost, incest, loss of mother, gothic, knife.
Those are usually the things I type in, especially incest and knife. You know, I want to watch. What are you in the mood for? How about incest and knife?
Speaking of knives, did you guys realize that in Just Before Dawn, it's like a gigantic steak knife that the killer has? Did you notice it? I forgot to mention it during the review. But yeah, it's like a steak knife looks at the serrated big knife. That's what this thing was. Instead of being like a machete or a sword or a straight knife, it's like someone was eating a giant steak. Yeah.
It makes sense. They were probably eating some sort of meat that they had hunted, and then they're like, all right, let's go out and kill. Bring your steak knife.
There you go. They just saw off the deer's head and eat the thing raw. Yeah. Anyway.
There's still no denying this. That's right. The fact that I'm so confused right now. There's no denying that it is it's absolutely a gorgeous film, and Del Toro he's brilliant. He just knows how to make these visually stunning masterpieces. Even if the film itself isn't necessarily my cup of tea, it's still just a joy to watch.
It's great. It is still a great film. I just have a few questions that apparently nobody can answer, so I wasn't the only one.
You know, again, for me, this was only my second time. The first time was probably, like you said, shortly after the year-end show in 2015. So it's been a while, and I'll definitely revisit it again.
Oh, no question. I just bought the Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I got the Blu-ray. Did you get the hour one or the fancy one?
No.
I didn't get the fancy. I didn't get the fancy one either. I just didn't know if you did.
No, I got it for freaking $250 at Family Video. No.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Legitimately?
Of course not. Well, the thing is, check it out though. It is legitimately because they are at some point. They have a system there where they have different color like dots on there, like yellow they'll never sell. Pink or green dots on there means that they are eligible to be sold for that price. So it's just they just haven't stickered every single movie
You're
yet.
just speeding up the process.
It's true because if I was to put a sticker on a movie that was in the favorite section or the new release section, because they have different colors sticker, and bring it up, they'll say, "Oh no, this isn't for sale for that price." So basically, I'm switching the stickers and just choosing this movie instead of this movie. Basically,
I hope they're not listening right now.
Honestly, they're happy to get any freaking money.
Let me give a shout out to the Family Video on Wilshire and 4th.
So what do you rate this, Ramsey?
Well, before we get to the ratings, I had one more question about it. I don't know if you guys can answer this.
We really can't
I feel like
answer
you can't
anything
answer
about this
anything in the
movie.
fucking movie. I'm
Okay,
embarrassed.
but yeah, why can Lucille see ghosts at the end when only Edith could throughout the whole film?
Oh, she sees her brother, right?
Right, yeah.
That's a
Maybe 'cause
different
that
kind
good
of ghost. It's a different kind of ghost. He looked different than
Force
all the.
ghost?
Well, yeah, it is like a force ghost. Yes. Look at it. It's like look at the way he looks compared to the other. The other ghosts are haunting ghosts. You look at them, they're red, they're black, they're scary, they're doing shit. You know what I mean? He just looks like a transparent version of him, like a regular old-fashioned ghost.
Unless that's it. He loved her so much he's coming back to help her one last time, so she's able to see, make himself be seen, so that she goes to caress him, and then gets clobbered over the head with a shovel.
Yes.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That ghost had an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
It was trying to distract her, so that ghost was just a Casper. It was coming out to help out Edith. And say, yeah, okay, I'm going to go there and do my
It's
thing.
friendly cop.
Yeah. Right.
Officer friendly.
Yeah, officer
Friendly
that was-
cop.
Friendly cop.
From officer friendly to ghost boy.
Christian wins the night with the most.
with stupidity.
It's great, though. It's great.
Does that satisfy you, Ray?
Yeah, I can buy that. I can
Yeah.
buy that.
Cool.
I also like the fact that he appeared outside the house, meaning he was free from the curse of the house.
Aha. There you go.
Yeah, well,
the
because he's a
mo-
white ghost. He's just a ghost. He's a Casper, as David.
Yeah, he's a friendly ghost.
She's stuck in the house, tinkling the ivories for eternity.
She could tickle my ivory. I'll tell you that. So this girl
Wow.
usually has red hair.
Yeah, Jessica Chastain,
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
star. She's a
I
huge
didn't-
star.
I understand that, but I've only heard of her because people wanted her to play the role in It Chapter 2, so I'm thinking she was a redhead. Normally, that's why people suggested her. So
She
now
is in it. She is in it, chapter 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
she get the
she-
part. I knew that she was recommended. Okay,
Yeah, no,
you-
she has the part. Yeah.
You know me, I'm
Should have
into
watched
that.
the trailer. 10 out of 10.
No,
No,
sir.
I didn't watch the trailer either, but I knew.
Oh,
she
that
was.
trailer is great.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you, she looked beautiful as a brunette. So I don't know. I don't know if does she look better as a redhead?
Oh,
What do you
she's
guys
beautiful.
Looks great
She's
everywhere.
beautiful as a,
Yeah.
as a
Yeah,
redhead.
she's
Yeah,
great.
she's a terrific actress. I mean, the whole cast of this film is really terrific.
True.
A lot of big names in here.
Absolutely. Pretty much throughout all Del Toro's films.
Yeah.
Something else about the director, good acting, good actors, good performers. So
Yeah, he definitely attracts big names. I mean, his films are high quality.
all right, well, what do you think there, Ram Man? Now what do you think? Were you swayed? Did you come up? Did you come down? Are you the same?
I think I'm going to watch this with the commentary just to see if it clears up anything. But from now, I went from an 8.5 to just an 8. And it's, not taking anything away from the film. It's gorgeous. It's, one of Del Toro's best looking films. So it's got to get a high rating just for that alone.
Yeah.
Right on.
I told you I stayed at a 9. I was anticlimactic. I didn't get swayed.
I swayed myself with this conversation, with everything that we went to. I mean, I had it at a 9, and I think I had it at a 9 the first time I saw it as well. But based upon this conversation and how none of us could answer 3 or 4 questions, I feel remiss not to do anything about it. So I'm going to go down a little to an 8.5.
Interesting. I'm really torn about that letter now. That's the main thing that's bothering me now. Is I remember the scene, but I have no recollection of anything about it. So that's really bugging me. I don't even remember what I rated it the first time, but I'm in that 7.75 range right now.
Okay.
That 7.5 to 7.75 range, and that's where I'm comfortable being right now.
Right
That's
on.
fair.
It is beautiful. It is a great film to look at, and it has so many strengths.
Yeah.
Just a couple tiny plot points that I couldn't figure out, that none of us could figure out. So it is what it is. But man,
Even though it is the better looking film, probably the best looking film of the 3 we watched, I still had to just come in slightly under Hellboy, just because Hellboy was definitely more enjoyable for me.
But what would you have rated Ghost Boy?
Ghostbusters.
I would have rated
10
it.
out of 10.
Fuck yourself.
Full head explosion.
Full head explosion.
Well, I guess we've made it to the end. Ram Man, thank you for selecting these movies. We had some great conversations. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your patronage with Patreon. It's all very much appreciated. Hey, it's paid.
I like a Patreon with Patreon. What?
Words are hard sometimes.
Why are we fucking dying here tonight?
I don't feel good. I think I just had a stroke. What did you Patronage for Patreon.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I literally cannot speak for a moment.
That's okay. What are you gonna do? We get the point. Rain Man knows we love him, and thank you.
Yes, I
absolutely
second everything he just said. Thank you so much for all the support, not only with the patronage, but in the group page and just everything. It's just it's really appreciated, and thank you.
I will echo that as well. I'm looking forward to doing the Apocalypse trilogy.
Yeah, and thank you for picking solid movies. The patrons for Exploding Heads are the Apocalypse. What'd you mess up?
Apocalypse, a trilogy.
Apocalypta? Wasn't that a movie from Mel Gibson?
Holy
the Apocalypta
shit.
Trilogy.
No
We're doing Apocalypta, The Passion of the Christ, and Lethal Weapon 2.
Starring
down
you.
with that.
No, but again, thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has been great, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much. You guys have been a great source of joy throughout the years. You got me through some rough times, and I want to thank you guys for that. After the end of Banana Laser and Skeleton Crew, it was kind of like, what's going to happen now? And you guys have filled that hole, that void, and everything's looking good for the future for you guys. And I can't wait to hear what you guys do and how you guys grow.
Oh man, that's awesome!
It's
Thank
touching,
you so much,
but I
man.
can tell.
Yeah.
I can look at these three faces, and you said fill that hole, and I know that everybody
I know.
all wanted to
I know I fucked up when I said that.
I gotta be honest. It didn't even pop in my head the first time.
Well, because you've
Well,
never
it
filled a
popped
hole
in
in your
your
life. Yeah. Couple assholes.
I did think of Victor Salva for a sec.
You're salivating.
Yeah, it was a kid.
See?
Anyway, no, awesome, man. I love that. I love hearing that. It means a lot because sometimes you're just like, fuck. It gets frustrating. We try to watch a lot of movies. We try to make this interesting. We know we're not for everybody, but we still want to keep doing the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Dave and I definitely want to keep doing the show, but we're just looking for a new editor.
The editor.
Yeah.
Well, Watson has that secret project going on. Maybe that you guys are alluding to something.
I wasn't sure, but the way he's hyping this person, I'm pretty sure that it's me. I don't remember recording it, but he's talking so highly of this person that it could only be me.
And I thought there's absolutely no way it could be.
No matter who it is,
It's going to be a tremendous letdown.
It is going to be a letdown because he's really freaking hyping he or she up way too much.
I'm sure.
What?
I'm sure it'll be awesome.
Probably just a solo cast.
Well, unless it's Little Watt, then you can't go wrong with there.
This is true.
I actually prefer if it was Little Watt and the mystery person.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, okay, that's our show.
That's our Watson
We're
show.
talking about Watson. We love you, Watson. We love all you guys. We love all you other podcasters on the networks that we're associated with. All of our listeners, everybody in our group, and yeah, nothing but love. What a great time we had tonight.
Yeah, we did.
And next time, show 82. Stay tuned for 1982, the year in horror, +1. Yeah, 1982. We're taking it back next show, and too bad it's not going to be 1982 for real. But 2019 has not been too bad so far. So we'll keep rocking and rolling.
And as I said at the beginning of the show, we never seem to know how to open or close a show.
Yeah, we don't.
So we'd like to thank the Ram Man one more time and say good night, everybody.
Peace.
Peace out, guys.